Futures back to the upside here this morning ever so slightly as we get going on a Monday morning. Coming off, a down week last week. It was the first negative week for stocks in 9, though, for both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. We're watching crude oil here this morning as well, down more than 3% in early trading. More Saudi price cuts hurting oil, so some of the energy names under a little bit of pressure. We'll talk about Boeing, obviously, coming up. Random doors falling off of planes now, not good for Boeing, getting hit here a little bit this morning. The shares are anyways. BTC could be a busy week here. We touched on it a little bit late on Friday if you were with us over the weekend on the podcast as well. The SEC set to vote on some final rules and regulations for the spot ETFs coming up this morning. Grayscale also refiling their S8s, pointing to liquidity providers for their ETF and also some final pricing as far as fees as well for the Grayscale switchover. So we'll touch on that coming up as well. A lot to get to. It's Monday, January 8th, 2024. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, ever so slightly positive here this morning. That's a Qs anyways. S&P not as green as the NASDAQ right now, but coming off that down move on Friday, coming off negative week overall right across the board for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. Dow was basically flat last week, but it was the first down week for both the S&P and the NASDAQ in 9. A lot to talk about this morning, a lot to get to coming up this week as well. Keep in mind, CPI, the big one, as far as economic data to come later in the week on Thursday morning. The market going to be watching that very closely, coming off that non-farm payrolls print that we got last week as well. If you missed it on Friday, I was touching on that BTC story. The SEC going to vote on some final rules and regulations. Very little detail on what that is going to consist of out so far, but we'll get that coming up this week. Bitcoin positive to the tune of about 2.5% here this morning, or was anyways. We'll talk about some of the individual names, including GBTC. Could be interesting. The Grayscale BTC fund at this point on watch this morning. They refiled for their ETF or their switch over to an ETF. And we're talking a lot about who's going to be the market. They actually named who's going to be the market makers and liquidity providers. They touched on the fee structure that's going to be included in that ETF as well. So all signs pointing to that we're getting really close here, guys. Happy Monday. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're in the 11th hour for the Bitcoin ETFs, I suppose, or, 11th hour is a weird term. It's 24-hour clock, but we're in the 11th hour for it, and it's going to be exciting. Whether or not you sit on the fence of that this is like all built in and everybody is already anticipating it's going to be a sell the news event, doesn't matter. You get to trade it either way, so that should be good. It's a scary thing that Boeing, like that would freak. Obviously it's freaky enough when you hear stories like that, let alone the things that they've had going on in the past. So they'll be in play in spirit. But there is a cool story out of this Boeing thing.
Okay.
So they've recovered 2 phones, apparently. Well, one for sure. I saw a picture of the iPhone. There apparently is another one that fell out and got sucked out of the plane. iPhone was still working, which I think that's pretty impressive. Although Apple's fall recently hasn't been the best. It bounced off 180. Let's see if Apple can continue to bounce like that iPhone did out of the Boeing plane.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and I was just writing right now in the sticky note, or on the sticky note, but it's like, is that the bottom? Did we just see the bottom in the market? That was pretty quick. Yeah, you had an opportunity to buy. We'll see if we can get going on a couple names here today. It's nice to see Palantir up 1.1%. We talked about buying those dips into 15. It didn't quite get to any sort of significant levels, but we're getting closer and closer as some of these dips are coming in again here. So watch out for Apple. They've come in. Now you have to watch out for that 180. We bounced off 180 there on Friday, and I think that right at the end of the day, we had some big moves. We had a big sell and bounce, but the market still finished up near 182. So we'll find out about Apple here up as the market goes up. And I don't know if we found the bottom or not, but we'll wait to see here with Apple. And then another name here, Tesla, is TSLA is actually near its 50 period Moving average, get rid of this. I don't know why I need this up here. There's nothing happening. Here it is right here. Tesla bouncing around 235. It's 50 period on the daily as well. So yeah, man, there's going to be lots of different issues. Whoops, that was Bitcoin right down here. I'm trying to show it to you guys. We have the Bitcoin. We're going to be trying to show this to you. Oh, that's why. It's because I got to zoom out like that. I'll put that at the bottom there. 45,000, Brendo, as you mentioned, should be on watch this week. So we're going to have it at the bottom right of my screen here. So as I'm watching Bitcoin, we'll be watching names like GBTC. I saw Mara, actually here, look at Mara. Mara up to 20, I think it was 27 was a level that I was looking at for some consideration, although it's nicely up already here today. Looks like it wants to go. Yeah, so it's actually right here. Yeah, 27, 26.80. We're still a ways away from that, but Mara obviously looping up as well, getting back in. There's 27 on the daily for Mara. So yeah, lots of names to be in coming through today. So Bitcoin dancing around 45 if you're going to see it right down there. So yeah, lots to talk about, and we're working on stuff to get it all out here. So y'all want the sauce, says Christian. Yeah, we want all the sauce. Give us the sauce, Gardner, right now. Those Jets.
There you go.
Oh, good thing the Bills. They play that. You guys play the Steelers. Is that what it is? That should be pretty good.
Yes.
Right there. Steelers don't even have a quarterback.
Well,
we got to play Dak.
We
got to play Dak.
no good.
We got to play Dak Prescott now. I just wanted to.
Well,
we almost played the Lions, which I think we would have beat them in Detroit, but now we got to go into Dallas, which I think is 7 points. So we'll see.
Dallas is tough at home.
The youngest team in the NFL.
I was absolutely thrilled last night. Probably stayed up. I don't usually watch Sunday night games. Like to get to bed early, start the week right. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch my Buffalo Bills. It was a tremendous win, man. That punt return was easily.
Yeah.
That
they
was
don't have that.
Because we had the full Josh Allen experience in the first half. That's for sure. But no more fumbling next week as we place the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not really worried about them. I think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, but I say that every single time.
Well, it's looking better. Philly looks worse, and
well, I feel bad for Philly.
why? Because of injuries and stuff.
I don't think I can't remember a team 1 week before the playoffs having that many star players get hurt in the same game.
Yeah.
Like I don't wish any ill on anybody. Like
that is sports these days.
You want to win right, like at the end of the day. So
everybody's getting hurt every minute now. It's like
injuries.
You can't get away with it. Like Burrow's hurt again, so poor Cincinnati. You know, Josh Allen's actually stayed pretty healthy his career, which has been a good thing for. Yeah, that's what it's about, right? It's building that chemistry. Palantir short to start, then long. Yeah, maybe Mr. Memes. That's what we're here for. We'll go over everything as this day continues to flow through here. It's only 8:30, man. An hour till this market opens, Brendo.
Yeah, a lot to touch on. We'll keep our eyes out, obviously, for anything Bitcoin related. Be aware, coming up at 12 o'clock, right at lunchtime, we're going to get some comments from Fed's Raphael Bostic. As far as what to expect from the Fed this week, there's just really CPI, but we do have some Fed speakers that are going to pop in throughout the week as well. So that's always worth a note. The CPI print on Thursday, though, going to be the main event as far as economic data is concerned, coming off, if you remember what happened on Friday with the non-farm payrolls. If you look at the pre-market on Friday, the initial move downside for the S&P 500 here. Fabian, if we could, thank you. If we go back to Friday, this is a 15-minute chart, but initial move downside, and then we just went straight higher out of the gate, come back a little bit to end the day. But we're right back to essentially where we ended. This is, again, the SPY, so the S&P 500 Qs were a little bit better off. But they faded the non-farm payrolls number. If you remember, it was higher than expected. So positive for the overall economy, obviously more jobs being created, but the market not liking that as far as the inflation story that continues here. There's the 10-year, 4.04 this morning, so we are holding back above 4%, the 30-year there or thereabouts as well. But yeah, all eyes on crypto, guys, all eyes on some individual names here. We'll touch on Alaska Airlines, that Boeing plane. If you missed it, was an Alaska Airlines plane that has nothing to do with them, obviously, but just unfortunate. Spirit downside in a big way as well. The manufacturer of said Boeing 737 MAX 9. So if you're wondering, it's the 737 MAX 9, which is just another variation of this plane that had this random door fall out on the way to landing for this Alaskan airline flight. So we'll look at Boeing, obviously. That's going to be the main one today, guys. But SPR, worth a mention here as well.
Yeah, they sort of get lost. SPR sort of gets lost sometimes. I mean, not by the market, and certainly not by its price action when bad things happen with Boeing. But remember, like they are the manufacturer. this investigation obviously is ongoing now, so it's not as if you can say this is a done deal. Sometimes it can be one or the other or both. That have some kind of like culpability or get blamed is the best way to think about it. If it is SPR, a lot of times they will be down a lot heavier and be more volatile than Boeing. So you got to keep that in mind. They were down over 20% at one point, only down 14% now, and making a big bounce with Boeing. For me, as this is happening, remember both these names have made gigantic runs in the last quarter. So both of them, whether it's Boeing or Spirit, had made huge gains. In SPR's case, almost, what was it, 120, let's call it 120%. I should double check that math. But from $14 to $33 speaks for itself. And that's just from September. So you have one quarter where you've done more than double up, and then you get a piece of news like this with it ongoing. Yeah, I'm looking to fade some pops in here, but you want it to settle down. The volume's going to be, you don't have to worry about the volume. The volume is going to be certainly more than the average today. So the 27 to 28 level on SPR looks interesting to me. And at the end of the day, who knows how long this investigation is going to take. We're here to trade price action. So both Boeing and SPR are bouncing. I don't think I want something until we get a little bit closer to the open. But yeah, that 27, 28, if it somehow gets all the way back into like a 30 level, that's kind of almost too crazy. But yeah, it's a scary story. I don't think this is an obvious sort of, okay, it's doom and gloom. These are both going down forever, just based on what little I was reading about this actual part and how, ultimately they had some knowledge of this issue and it might not be that big of a deal. All that said, it freaks me out a little bit when I heard it, and I want to look to be shorting pops at least until we hear some more news here. So these are going to be on radar. But there is one thing when you were mentioning the SPY there, I don't want to gloss over this. The SPY made what looked like a really good bounce off of 465. We'll talk about Apple at 180. Sean just mentioned Tesla's at its 50-period moving average. You throw out a stock like Amazon, which is bouncing off of 145 in its 50-period moving average. Now, there was a pullback in the afternoon, but if you look at that little wick into 465, and then you held the opening range break there as well. So you're making a little bit of a bottoming pattern, at least with that liquidity grab at the open, which a few stocks did, and then that support late in the afternoon. So I can see a few stocks for some bounce zone. We'll talk about one of them later with Nvidia.
All right, for me, Boeing, look, I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend like I know what kind of effect this is going to have on the stock. I mean, it's down 7%, so that's enough for me. The only thing is that you just got to play key levels, right? Let's put on our Michael Noss hat right now and just say, forget about everything other than what we're looking at technically. I mean, it's 234. That's the high of the pre-market, and Michael's going to say, well, let's not look at minute candles too closely here because we got to assess the risk here maybe for a longer trade. It's down 7%. But the thing is that if you're going to assess risk versus reward, I think if you're going to trade this, right now you're in the middle of the morning, right? You had the top of 234, for me the bottom of 228, and you're literally stuck here at 231, 232. That's directly in the middle, so for me it's not a mess around with Boeing until it breaks one of two things here. Either the high of the day you go long, or it breaks this bottom and we go short. That's it for me. Pretty simple trading right now. If Boeing breaks it, then we're in. Other than that, it's going to be a complete wait and see because I have no idea where this is going to stop. Is it going to stop at 220? Is it going to stop at 210? Is it going to go back up to 245? They're going to figure it out like they always do. I would say you buy dips in Boeing, but you got to wait for these dips to happen. We got one major candle today, right down to the 50-period moving average. Generally, that's a buy sign. But with all of this news, we'll wait and see. Be patient with Boeing. Looks like it's either going to be a 234 play or a 228. Just one of these is going to snap, and it's going to snap before 9:30. So like sitting here and saying, oh, let's buy this at the bottom. Well, I mean, that's going to look a lot different 45 minutes from now. So I don't even have it on the sticky note today. So I'm just going to watch it, see what levels become key, and then play off that. Definitely a no-fly zone until we see a key level. So let's go over back to the desk with Brendo.
I wonder if you can request Airbus planes for flights these days, but there he is, the man himself. Michael Noss joining us on a Monday. Good to see you as always, Mr. Noss. We were discussing, if you go back to just before the holidays, the effects of the result of the Santa Claus rally going into the following year. We also have some other, I mean, go back and watch the segment on Friday. We touched on what happened as a result of the Santa Claus rally. It was a bit of a train wreck if you missed it.
Yeah.
Let's touch on another factor here going into what's going to be an important second half of the year, and specifically maybe even Q4, because it's an election year. We did talk about this the end of last year a little bit, but give us some more detail here on what we need to know as far as historically what that means for the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just one of those things that, hey, apolitical here, Canadian, don't care, but the presidential cycle in the United States, the 4-year cycle, it's very interesting from a technical point of view. So yeah, I was on here Friday. I kind of showed all the things that may happen from a bearish standpoint because we didn't get that Santa Claus rally and that January effect rally. But if we take a look a little bit wider out for what's going to happen into the end of the year, we look at this presidential cycle. So I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to give you a bull case. I think it's a little bit more happy, uplifting New Year than the bear case I gave on Friday. So this chart is split into 4 segments because for all of the international people like me, I had to study up on the US presidential cycle. It's every 4 years. So the first section of the chart is the year after the presidential cycle. So this would be 2025. And you can see it's a little bit of a mess. It would also be 2021, which, if you remember, 2021 was, especially near the end, a little bit of a mess. So it's very interesting how this cycle has tracked. So this chart, I should just explain the chart data first, is the average return of the S&P 500 across all of the election cycles. So this isn't any particular one. This is what happens on average. So it's going to get us a good look. Now, then we have the midterm cycle, which is the 2022, right? So 2022, you can see in this chart, is generally a bit of a mess. And 2022 was also generally a bit of a mess, with it bottoming in October. And this chart actually shows bottoming in October of a election year cycle. So then the pre-section, the third section over, is 2023. So this would have been last year. And funny enough, it shows this massive rally we had. And last year we had the S&P 500 up like 20-something%, with the NASDAQ putting in a record year up nearly 50%. So we are tracking, at least for this cycle, really, really close. So that's really why I wanted to, kind of hit home on it on this cycle. So we are going to focus on this last box now. This is the election year. So this would be this year, 2024. You can see the first half of the year is a bit of a choppy mess. And kind of what I was going into on Friday is giving the technical side of things about why we could see a choppy mess for the first half of the year. And then you can see after, leading up to the election, you get a little bit of a rally. And then you get some sideways consolidation around the election. And then after the election, you get this follow through. So generally speaking, what we're going to see this year, and this is kind of being confirmed with the other seasonality stuff that we talked about, a messy first half of the year, but then hopefully a bullish second half of the year. And I've got some evidence, I think, to show this technically. So if we go to the next chart, this is a chart of the S&P 500 on a weekly chart. You can kind of see this big cup type action. And we know that a cup works best when it's a cup and handle, but you can see the down market we had, and then the sideways market in 2022, and then the massive rally we had last year got us right to these highs. Now, it would make perfect sense if we struggle at these highs. So I'll just talk a second about the psychological phenomenon that usually happens that creates the cup and handle pattern. And that's basically what I think we may be into on the S&P 500. So the cup and handle pattern is basically a lot of people bought at the top. We had a big sell down, and everyone's underwater for a long period of time. And we've all done it, and we all know we shouldn't, but we've all said the words, if I just get back to even, I'm going to get out. And we know it's bad, but it's this kind of prayer that a lot of traders and investors have made in the past. So when the market rallies back up to that high, you generally have a lot of overhead supply, and those are people and institutions selling because they've been down for 2 years plus now, and they're finally back to even, and that creates this kind of cup and handle pattern. So the next chart I have is a description of the cup and handle. You can see this big cup type pattern. It gets up to the highs and then it struggles for a bit. So if we kind of imagine now and superimpose that that election cycle chart on top of this, it would make sense that the first half of the year would be that chop that we see in the election cycle that could form this kind of handle type pattern. And then if we break out, that would kind of correspond with that end of year to mid-year rally that we see, right? So I just put the next chart is just a zoomed in version of just this average election year cycle. So you could see, right, if you take this chart and you attach it to the end of what is happening in the S&P 500, you could see a little bit of mess that we're expecting and then a rally into the end of the year. So the next chart here of the S&P 500 is just this kind of drawn out. So I wouldn't be shocked. You see, I've drawn two horizontal lines right now where we have this kind of 470 to 440 area on the S&P 500 that we could start oscillating between and we could start fighting. Now, the uptrend is obviously still intact and will be intact until we break down under 400. So we have a lot of room that we can sell off before any of this becomes a bearish problem. But just combining these charts with what we expect seasonality, it kind of is making sense as a little bit of a picture. So I only have one chart of what I'm looking to do if this is the case, and that is charts like oil. So if we are going to chop sideways for an extended period of time to, this work off this the cup and handle pattern and the overhead supply that we're seeing on the market, and then B, kind of fulfill the seasonality that we're following so closely, that means that the market's going to be overall choppy. That doesn't mean we just walk away and don't do anything. It just means that buying things that are coming into support, like you can see here, this is the chart of US oil, so oil in general, could be the move. It could be a buy support, sell resistance environment as opposed to buy breakouts and continuations. So that's going to be my plan going forward. So what I'm going to do Summit today is I'm going to look through and try to find some good names at support. And then maybe when I'm on with Sean after the close, we'll talk about those.
As the longer term picture, I mean, it makes a ton of sense, as you said. That being said, we're not suggesting or we're not saying this is exactly what's going to happen. It's just, if you look, in the past, what has happened, we're setting up, as you said, to follow that trend.
Yeah, so it's, trading, whether it's day trading, I hear you guys do it all the time, or swing trading myself, is about setting up scenarios. And you'll hear the guys on the desk say, hey, they're talking about Boeing when I was in the green room, right? Boeing's gap down, I'm going to look for it to, break this pre-market high in these areas. And they're setting up these scenarios in their head. It doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. It means that they're trying to picture, if this happens, then I'm going to do this. And if this happens, I'm going to do this. So that's what I'm doing here when I'm kind of postulating about these. This is a little out of my comfort zone for longer term thinking, but it's basically saying, if I think the market's going to be choppy for the next few months, then I need to go, okay, now let me start to apply strategies to the market that would work with a choppy market. But if we just break out here and just start screaming higher, it doesn't mean I'm not going to then adapt and just continue to start to buy breakouts if that's what the market's giving me at the time.
Yeah, great stuff. Michael Na, CMT over at Trade Ideas. Have a great day.
Talk to you soon.
All right, so I like how Michael, hey, what's up, my guy over there? It's the return of Michael Noss back on the Market Recap Show tonight. We've had a couple Mondays in a row where it's been a little difficult to connect, so that'll be awesome. We'll have Michael back on tonight. And the thing about that is, I like buying all of these ETFs. There's no doubt about that. But the big thing is, especially if you're going to be buying names in the oil patch, look, I've been buying XLE. Me and Michael have gone back and forth about that. We talked about selling some XLE up here near and around $90. The big problem for me is you get the dividend when you're buying stocks like Chevron and some of these other names, XOM and whatnot. So for me, I'm going to ask him tonight on the show about the benefits of, trying to buy. I mean, he's CMT. We're going to talk about some levels for sure and some ideas, but I just wonder about buying a USO which would be, you know, basically to follow oil. That's the oil fund. I mean, Michael just described this, versus a Chevron, versus an XOM, things like that. Is it worth maybe potentially just buying your own basket of some of these names? Because we know we like Oxy for the Warren Buffett bounce. We know we like XOM and Chevron because they have those huge buybacks. So if oil is going to work, I wonder about buying individual names instead of the ETF. So there are ETFs also, and I'm going to talk about this later on tonight as well. There are ETFs that will pay you a dividend naturally. So I feel like that's where you want to sit, especially if you're going to sit around and wait for some of these energy names. So a great part of the portfolio should be oil. I feel like 5 to 10% makes a lot of sense. I was talking with people this weekend about crypto as well, because again, that's, you know, as crypto moves up is when people want to talk about it. So I was saying, I feel that 5%. Like I was telling people, if you're managing $1 million or something like that in your portfolio, or 100,000, I mean, the number doesn't matter. You know, to put in $5,000 of a $100,000 portfolio into something that you think could and you have to like Bitcoin, or you just want to play around with it. I feel like that 5%, even if Bitcoin halves from now, then your account goes from 100,000 to 9750, right? Because you're going to lose 2,500 of that $5,000. But then you have the potential for a Bitcoin or something like that to double, triple, quadruple, whatever. And it could also be a zero. So if it goes to a zero, you lose a little bit. If it doubles, you gain a little bit. And I think that's worth, and it's fun. But for oil, I feel like it's a lot more safe, obviously, than a Bitcoin, but maybe it's not. So I feel like you have a similar sort of back and forth portfolio management weighting with oil. And I think if you go 5% in oil, I think that's reasonable, and especially if you're collecting some kind of dividends there as well. I mean, follow the big investors. Nothing wrong with being a little diversified. Thank you, Mr. Michael Noss, for coming through one more time.
Yeah, still 3% right now for oil. If you missed it, some Saudi price cuts hurting energy names this morning. Let's get a few of those on this board. Let's get some analyst moves for you this morning. Adara has that over at the screen.
American Airlines getting an upgrade here from Morgan Stanley, trading a bit higher off of that. Jefferies Financial upgrading both Chevron and DoorDash. The DoorDash upgrade's kind of interesting here. Raised the price target from 90 to 130 and also replaced Uber as its top delivery pick. So DoorDash ousting Uber here by Jefferies Financial. Last but not least here for upgrades, Enphase getting an upgrade from Wells Fargo. For downgrades, American Express getting a downgrade from Baird. Wells Fargo downgrading for solar. So I guess a bit of a solar theme here for Wells Fargo with that Enphase upgrade as well. Barrett getting Herrick getting downgraded by Bernstein. Bernstein also downgrading Southwest here, guys.
Yeah, you know, DoorDash, not that uninteresting last week. Now that I look at it, we're just sort of saying we don't really look at this stock, so we look at Uber mostly. Bouncing off its 50 period last week, maybe it gets back into this 104 high. I wish sometimes you look back, it's like, wow, that's kind of obvious support level there at 93 bucks, but it's already bounced off it. Just want to acknowledge one thing, because I don't know, at one point this morning, Brennan turned around and was like, oh man, have you seen where AXP is? And let's zoom it in here, getting a downgrade, but just chilling out at them highs. And a lot of times when you get this, I mean, as Michael was saying, you get this like chop, it's because you get to these zones where you get a little bit of exhaustion and you can tend to go sideways. That's what looks like is happening on AXP. But I think of those names that I saw on the upgrade downgrade list, most people probably care about First Solar and Enphase. But I did want to mention this very quickly, because I don't even know if we got this story on the watch list, but ZIM, and so some of those shipping companies have made a deal with the Houthis. So down 14% currently after this. I'm not going to get into the politics of making deals with terrorists, but generally speaking, probably not seen as that great of a capitulation. At the end of the day, we're here to trade price action. This is going to open up SSR. It has been basically a moonshot since this whole thing started up. And if you look, shipping costs have been going way up. They were breaking back out. So if you think that this is something which is going to be your cup of tea, like you like a volatile name, I feel as if this has to be on the list. It had gone almost a double up into some good resistance here. Kind of have eyeballs on a couple of levels. $12 is going to stand out where we just bounced on ZIM. If it gets back to the upside, this little zone here, 13.5, we had a couple of days, I mean Thursday and Friday, a couple of days, that 13.5 zone of consolidation on the way up were it to come back into those levels, that could be an interesting spot to sell off there. So it's done 1.3 million in volume already, down 14%, very likely to be short sell restricted come 9:30. ZIM on a deal struck, I guess, to stop some of those attacks in the Red Sea.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I mean, we saw oil making the move down, which it's really strange the way that all works out. Like, I would have thought that oil, and we talked about this again on the podcast, make sure you go find it, our most watched podcast yet. Like, I just thought that in this, all these problems with these wars and now the Houthi and all this kind of stuff, that we would have had oil actually moving to the upside, not to the downside, which makes it play like CVX. We just talked about this, and I just looked it up. It's a 4% dividend yield. It got upgraded today. It's not acting like that, obviously, as it's down 0.87. I just think that these are the names you want to buy. Huge move down. We're going to get earnings. I'll have to load it up to find out when exactly we have.
Feb 2nd.
Feb 2nd. Okay, good. You're already on that. So 4 weeks. And Brent and I talked about this. It's this Friday where we get all the banks, baby. So they're all starting to come through right now. I think that, is it time to eat? This is going to be interesting. Ezekiel Elliott over here to my right. But we're going to find out. I guess that doesn't hit the same without Sharif here.
No, it doesn't.
Because Brendan's like, Ezekiel Elliott. What the hell is this guy talking about
is.
right now? But no, look, a downside move here. I feel like you can buy some of these oil names. We just talked about it. The name that I own is, and you're not going to, this is just, oops, it's not, on eSignal it's .to. On eSignals.tc, on ours is .zeo. This is just a natural gas. We might not even, okay, I don't know how long this will take to load up. This is like XLE, so I just chose this one. This is the BMO, and it only has like a 0.4% management fee, which is pretty good. Oil and gas ETF here in Canada. So I know people are like, why the hell is this guy showing a Canadian symbol? But we are listed here. We always talk about USO, XLE, OIH, the oil holders. This is just one of those names here in Canada that I like with a lower management fee. So this is what I own, and this is again a 4.85% or so dividend yield on ZEO. So that's where I choose to play when we're talking about oil, and XOM and Chevron. I actually don't own any Oxy and probably should do that. And then I have a small little pipeline some of you may be familiar with named Enbridge.
Hello.
Just seeing a note here on Apple, guys. Pre-orders for the Vision Pro, January 19th, which is a couple of weeks, Friday at 5 a.m. So get your orders ready. Again, pre-orders for the Vision Pro, January 19th at 5 a.m. It'll be available Feb 2nd in stores. You have to actually go in store to get it fitted, apparently. If you haven't done so, very easy. Watchlist.tradertv.live will get you there, or scan that QR code, enter your email address, and then you get an absolutely free resource for you every single day from us. Happy to do it for you. Let's go. Boeing, top of the list today, as it should be, down big time here. 7.5%, as we said. SPR actually more than that. If you missed it, crazy, just terrifying video of that door coming out of the plane on that Alaskan 737 MAX 9. So the FAA has grounded 171 of these planes for further checks following this and an investigation, obviously. I mean, it's $12.5 billion in potential market capitalization loss. Is that specific model or variation of the 737 MAX 9? It's going to impact associated aerospace supplier SPR, as we said, as well, downside in a big way. But pretty ugly, guys, today for both.
Yeah, this weekend is making me realize why I kind of like GE for this. And it's not like obviously Boeing and Airbus are like very specific in the sector, but you can get a lot of other exposure. And GE seems a lot safer right now. But at the end of the day, we're here to look at some price action for you. So you're pulling back in is the wrong term to use. You're falling back into the 50-period moving average. And a lot of times when you get liquidity events like this, especially a stock that was already going up pretty heavily, it had pulled back once, so this was making a bit of a dip. It goes halfway, and then the other half down into 225 comes on this gap. Now, what you can have happen when you get a big gap to the downside like this is maybe some people who were already short on a swing basis from those tops can consider, hey, I want to take something off because I got this in my favor. That 225 and the pre-market lows here are about 225.75. That could be one of those flush and quick little bounce spots. Now, I like 35 and 37 as not kill zones, but like short the pop situations for me. I don't think you fill in the entire gap. It just doesn't seem remotely possible, but the last major move around this price area off that previous high was in 35 and then 37 when I pulled the charts back. So we're at about 30 right now. So if it does get a little bit higher at the open, I'd probably be patient fading this one. The other one to look at, obviously, SPR, its price action is going to be wild. 14% to the downside. And this was down at 25 bucks. It had dropped almost a full $7 from a 32, which is huge. It's going to be wild. It's going to have decent enough volume. It's already done more volume than normal. I like the $27 and $28 areas going back into the daily chart for the same reason, like pull back into prior support as you're trying to fill in that gap. If that gets to 30, you've filled in pretty much the entire gap on the daily to a bigger support level, and we can trade off those levels. So I think I'm not trading anything like, ooh, I think this is a bounce play for sure I'm going long. I just need to see it pop into a resistance zone, and if it's down gapping on bad news, I'd rather short the pops because I feel as if there will be some sellers today in both of these two names. I'd rather do that than try to guess a bottom, even if I do think at some point, there will be a reasonable bottom, like it always is, that comes in. I'd rather just short the pops on bad news.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing about Boeing was not to try to figure out where the stock was going, but just sort of trade where it is going. And I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, we were just talking about this not too long ago when we first started the story and when we first went on air. It was up at 233, 234. So now it's lost $4. Yeah, it's not going to be a good sign. I feel like people will lose confidence in the stock, and that's obviously happened already here today. So down 8%, not great. Whenever you read headlines, people will always sort of fear the worst. And you don't need more of these planes being grounded. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. We saw what happened last time, and Boeing has definitely had its opportunities to be bought on dips and then be taken out with profits. So at the same time, you're right back to the 50-period moving average, but now you're on it with it on a story. That's not good. So generally, you'd like to sort of float into here, make a smiley face, and then get back upside and get that garbage out of here. But for right now, it looks like it wants to move. So I would say if you're looking to buy something, I mean, 200 is a pretty key level. That's only 10% further than where we are right now. I think it's pretty disastrous for Boeing as far as the PR thing is concerned. That's all. Will they get it figured out? Yes, they will. I mean, the smartest engineers are working for these guys. This is not a big issue, but it's not a good PR. And down here to 228, that's really the level that I'm looking to break. And I think that when it breaks lower, you can probably punch that short. But as I said before, it's not on the sticky note because realistically, I think it's just a break long or a break short. And right now you're in the middle. So I don't let this thing settle down. It will open up here. Let's just check out quickly the imbalance because, like I said, we're going to need some kind of a decision point. And right now it's by far, we had QuantumScape from Friday. I know the Midday show was trading that. There's Boeing, NEO, Fisker. So it's kind of just like up near the top. Everything's expected except for Boeing. So that's definitely going to be a heavily traded stock today. 600,000 shares on sell to open up. So expecting a little bit of pressure here. Then probably once that 600 is done, we'll see relief back up to the top. So for me, the next level is 2 bills, and we'll just wait to see what happens here at 228. That's the day low, and I think that's breaks.
Just quickly on Twilio, there wasn't much reaction to this, but Twilio just coming out updating their guidance, it looks like, or saying at least they plan, or they're expecting to exceed guidance for Q4 2023. There's also a new CEO named here. It looks like founder Jeff Lawson stepping down and to be appointed chair. So a few headlines just coming through on Twilio, but as I said, not really reacting to any of that. Let's talk about Nvidia. We mentioned this briefly last week. There's going to be yet again another revised H20 AI chip specifically for China. They're now targeting Q2 of this year for potential deliveries for this once again until the U.S. government comes out and probably blocks that as well. But again, this was all, the revisions to this were all to avoid those export ban, or the export ban and the export restrictions, guys, for chips into China.
Yeah, and look, they already delayed this one a few months ago. So this is definitely, it's good news, now, obviously, because they do so much volume in China and want to be able to sort of maintain that dominance. You already had a couple of companies going to Huawei with some orders, which obviously, like, that's not going to be a good thing for Nvidia. So they do want to figure this out, which they have done several times here, and able to be able to continue to sell to China. But on the daily chart, I don't think you want to get too complicated with it. Like Nvidia, look at it now riding the 50-period moving average, going into what is going to be an interesting earnings report. Let's see if they can keep up the momentum. But the 500 level still sits here as big resistance. You saw how strong this was on Friday. It was an absolute rocket ship on Friday. I think we're on the way to testing the 500. Ideally, you get a chance in here for a couple of nice little dip zones. You had afternoon resistance at 93, which is pre-market support now. That level, 491, which is where we closed, 487, which was the actual, let's call it the afternoon bottom. And those are the levels I like. Like, when looking for a dip zone on a stock that I think is headed up, I try to look at the key price levels on the previous day or the previous week, and that's what I see there on Nvidia. If I think we're getting to 500, I want to try to buy some dips on the way, as opposed to being long like 97 or 98 into 500, which has been resistance until it is not. So yeah, I like Nvidia today, and it doesn't really say much when you're talking about one of the strongest rocket ships, and then we made a bit of what looks like a temporary bottom in the futures, and then trying to grab some dips on Nvidia. But if we're through, look, if this stock is not hanging on to 487, then, you don't want to fight it forever. I just think we look for a dip before that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. I mean, some of the biggest losses that we've had, what was the one on Friday that was a blowout top that we...
Oh, it was
Meta. There was something there, and I'd lost. I'll let you think about it, but I had lost last week with AMD trying to break 140. It broke. We got like 40 cents. Then it went down $3. The same thing happened with Microsoft. It broke 376 and went down. They eventually all retraced back up, and there was also Micron was another one that did that dance. So they're all going to key levels, breaking and then hovering. But this time I feel like it's going to be different for Nvidia. Sean, that stove is hot, man. Stop touching it. But no. I will do as my kids. Just keep on doing. Yeah, I don't have that thing working yet over here. Rob's still trying to find out a solution for that as we wait. We're talking about the cup warmers that Obi got us. Anyways, okay, look. For me, it's too key of a level to not try it again. So here comes 500. We've bounced off of it now 3 times or so, right up on the top side. We did break it a couple times, but not recently, man. That recent break didn't even happen. That one right there, we got going right off the open, and it got to 504. We were talking about fading this 504, but now I don't think so. I actually might. I was saying it on the sticky note, which is out now. I said, like, that's it. That's the dip. We're done. Like, I was kind of saying that when we came in today. No dip whatsoever pretty much in Nvidia. It goes down to 475, which is kind of just ho-hum. And now we're right back to the area that I sold. So now this is where I feel like traders will start to get FOMO, because you can time the market all you want, but at the end of the day, it's so hard to get back into stocks, because if you don't buy that bottom, right now you're stuck again. So what happens when you break through 500? We have earnings, obviously not for a while, but this new H20 chip getting into China, I think, is a deal maker for Nvidia. So let's see if it breaks it. I'm going to take probably half the shares I normally would on a 500 break, and then give it back to something. We'll find out a level at that time, but the order's already in right now. So I have an order in that will not trigger in the pre-market, but it could trigger immediately on open. So let's wait to see if we take out 495. I'm going to try the long. It's like $4 up to 504. So I'm taking enough shares that potentially I can hold it for at least $2 back down. So let's wait to see it. I think Nvidia is going to break $500 today, and we're definitely going to be right on that.
Oil 4% now, just breaking 4% downside again. Saudis with some price cuts appearing to be the reason. Energy stocks under pressure. Let's talk about Apple here. A couple of things to note if you missed it there, just joining us a little bit late. The Vision Pro going to be available for pre-orders in a couple of weeks on Friday the 16th, 5 a.m. You'll be able to get your order in, and then Feb 2nd. In stores. So Apple following through on that promise to have it available at least end of January or first week of February. There was also a note from Jefferies this morning suggesting that China iPhone sales were down 30% in the first week of 2024. We talked a little bit about that government angle. So Jefferies coming up with some sort of data to back that up. Again, 30% downside for iPhone sales first week of the new year, guys, in China.
I mean, we'll go back and forth with Apple. I mean, the thing about it is like, it's going to be an opportunity to buy it, and you're probably getting it right now. It's, again, this dip, we don't get this too often, and when this loads up, you'll see you're at the 200 period as well. You're actually below it. So you're at 180 now. So that's right where we are. We're below the 50. We're right at the 200 period moving average. These are dip buy opportunities. Brendan and I talked about it on the podcast. I think we all have bids a little bit lower. We're, expecting a little whoosh down there on some economic data, but that never happened, and they really bought up that 180. If you're waiting to take shots at names, these are the levels that you do it. A stock is relatively unhealthy under the 50 period moving average. So you may not want to buy it until we get back above that 188. But if you're buying for the long term, then what does it really matter whether or not you're buying Apple today at 182 or you're waiting for 180? At the end of the day, I can't remember the last time I bought Apple. I can remember the last time, but the price, it's not really super relevant. So I would just say, if you're going to be a long-term investor, the only way to win is to be buying dips or just dollar cost averaging every single time, every single month or quarterly at the same time, and you don't really worry too much about price. We talked about China sales. That's really going to sort of be the oil that sort of sparks this engine. No, that's not right. But anyways, you need it in there, and oil for Apple, that's the market. And as the market continues to go through, I don't have it on the sticky note today. It's just I am bullish. Obviously, we put these guys into bulls here. I just love that bounce off 180. So Apple held in 332 ETFs worldwide, plus more. I mean, is there one being launched today? Probably holding Apple. So it's just a matter of people buying the dips, and I think it's time to do that as well. Apple 180, although we got that bounce on Friday, I still think we could retest it. I think it's a buy spot now. I don't think it's a sell. I was waiting on Friday to hammer that short. It just didn't happen. So now you're up. Just keep it going, man. As soon as the big money wants to buy Apple, they'll start putting out more reports, more upgrades, this and that. So just wait to see. I'm pretty sure that Apple's going to be a buy, at least until we get back to $2.
Yeah, like as Sean said, at that 180 level, and that's one where, as a trader, look, would we have gone? I would have gone long in front of it, and then if it breaks to the downside, I'm probably just flipping that trade because it's so big of a level. But you know what? It bounced off of the economic number, the jobs number NFP on Friday. It didn't really have time to bounce all that much in the afternoon, but you did get a good move off of 180 in the final 30 minutes. So that's twice that you bounced off that level, and you could head into some resistance at 183.5. That just comes from Thursday, and then a previous low from Wednesday. I think that's where I'd want to be trading that sucker. At the end of the day, when you have a pullback like this, you're usually going to get a bounce zone. And sure, we held a support level, but you didn't really get an update out of it on Apple. So today is the day, I think, where you get that, you have the bounce off 180, then now you get the up day. I want to look to buy some dips in Apple if we get them, but we're not that close to the 180 level, which puts you in a bit of a wait and see mode as far as I'm concerned.
All right, let's touch on crypto markets here. This is a daily chart of Bitcoin, so nicely green to start things off, as we saw, just holding on to. It's tough to see there, but 45,000 currently for BTC in this really, really tight consolidation. Could be an exciting week for Bitcoin right across the board. We learned back on Friday that the SEC is going to vote on some final regulations and rules as far as the ETFs are concerned. Again, Grayscale refiling their S3 as of this morning with the SEC, pointing to who's going to be the market makers, naming a few names as far as liquidity providers for their ETF, and even talking about fees, guys. So they're coming up with pricing on this ETF. Thank you, Randy. Even ahead of any news, substantial news anyways, from the SEC. So could be getting close here.
Yeah, they're ready to hit the ground running. Like that's
basically a done deal, right?
Yeah, exactly. So. Like at this point, it's a matter of, what day are these coming out to trade? Like that's what we're thinking about now. But as far as price action goes, remember, there is always the possibility of some selling of the news, which has already happened once, and you could see a little bit more of it happen again. And then B, just on those first couple of days of trade, maybe some more volatility than you're used to out of some ETFs. But 45,000 still ends up being this kind of nice litmus test for BTC. We're kind of flagging around here, 45.2 up at the top, 44.9. What I'll be concerned with while trading an ETF, an equity here, would be a break out of this range. Like I would not, even if I like a long setup in Mara or Coinbase or something along those lines, if we're breaking down underneath this like top support, I won't want to be fighting that long. But if you're taking out tops, I only want to be looking for long. So always have my eye on the prize. Mara, I just have 23 and 27 marked. I had, oh yeah, that's right. I had to refresh my chart. 27 up here on Mara. There you go. And then 23. It's not the absolute bottom. But if you look at that wipeout and then recovery that happened on Wednesday, middle of last week, the support in there is just under a hair underneath the $23 level. Call it 22.5 into 23. Those are the key price levels. I think 25 is an over-under zone, where if it's trending away from that price, maybe you can look for some scalp trades going into one of the barriers. But I want to be fading up tops if there's resistance on BTC. And if we start breaking out either one of those directions on Mara, then I want to be taking that break. I'm really ambiguous about the direction. As far as Mara goes, it's just giving you double-digit moves. So you just want to be trading the stock when it breaks out because it has a good chance of continuation.
Yeah, I like that Mara. I like that 27. I mean, there's a couple different levels to look at here. Look at GBTC. I mean, again, doing some good volume here in the pre-market and up just an absolute monster. So I feel like you're going to have to watch this name here today as Brendan talked about filing and all that for GBTC. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 45,000. We'll keep it down here. I mean, what a great movement it's been for all of these names. Congratulations, anybody that's been long Bitcoin this year. It's up 175%. It's been fantastic. Coinbase, again, feel like you can buy these dips now, honestly. I mean, it is going to be a sell the news event, I think, but I just said sort of, not under my breath, but as it came back to both Neil and I was like, I guess it's a done deal now. I mean, if this is what's going on, I saw some tweets earlier this weekend. Yeah, exactly what Brendan's saying, man. The paperwork's getting ready to rock and roll, and they're all pretty confident that these are going to get approved. So let's wait to see, and if it does, then I do think we moon a little bit. I would still always fade some of these tops. Like there's some aggression that's come into some of these names, and what I mean by that is, I was going to go back to Uber. I'm going to go back to Pan W and a lot of these names that they get a huge bump up because they're being added into the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100. I kind of feel like that's the moment that we're having right now for Bitcoin. Yay, we're getting approved. You know, it's kind of like when Coinbase IPO'd, Bitcoin was 66,000 or 62,000. That was the top for Bitcoin. You know, and that was also the top for a lot of these exchanges, right? There was so much hype about it all when it was first coming out. Pan W, I believe the move up was right here, starting at the bottom of 164, 165. Then by the time we finally got added back, that's the NASDAQ, down here in September, there's the move upside. And then I believe we started to fade out a little bit. Had that scare on earnings back in November when it was on a random Friday. And then that was just back up to the upside. So Pan W and Uber, both giving me those feels of what's happening right now with GBTC. But hey, man, as they always say, here's Benzinga Pro. Ball don't lie. Bitcoin straight up to the upside, coiling up right now, trying to figure out what it wants to do between 40 and 45. So if this news is a sell the news event, then you're going to want to watch out for 40 to break. And then possibly, like we said, I believe on the podcast again, I'd like to be buying Bitcoin down here, $36, $37. Thousands, and then we'll see about it after that. So right now, Bitcoin just coiling up. I believe it will be a sell the news event. Let's just wait to see what happens.
Interesting look for Lululemon here this morning on a guidance update, and this is going to Q4 of 2023. Fourth quarter sales and profit forecast upside, but the actual stock is down this morning. So they pointed to successful holiday discounts and deals that drew more crowds to their stores over the holiday. They're now projecting revenue between $3.17 billion and $3.19 billion. Expected earnings per share, $4.96 to $5. Both of those numbers topping past estimates, but here we are. I mean, it's 1% on the day, but still red for Lulu today, guys.
Yeah, Lulu's volume, it's not gigantic on Lululemon here. I almost, like, we're going to report some preliminary numbers before we come out with earnings. Of those two movers, I almost feel like Crocs might be a little bit more exciting. That said, look, if Lulu holds on to 480, that looks like a pretty actionable level on a bit of a liquidity grab underneath. This is a case for me where if there was volume here, like I'd have looked at something like a 485 break, like when you see that kind of a barcode. But with 37,000 volume, probably a no. I think over the 480, if the response to these numbers is we like to defend that level, which it seems on light volume is already happening, then it's not that bad of a long. But I feel like this is going to be a sit it out for me. You got some preliminary numbers. The reason I say Crocs might be more interesting is just you can see it's up 13%, and they came out with some preliminary numbers as well. And this name had been dropping. It actually had pulled back about over 20%. Almost 25% in the last month or so. So this is back above the 50 period, kind of heading to that $100 level. I think this could be a nice runner. I just looked for a little bit of a pullback into previous resistance on Crocs, like a 95 in here, maybe even the 93. 95 seems a little bit more likely. And then if it takes out 100, I'm not taking a breakout on Crocs when it's already up 13%. And it looks relatively thin right now, like a 25-cent spread. So I don't like a breakout $2 from here. But on a dip buy, I'm going to take Crocs over Lululemon for a trade.
So Lululemon right now, I think the problem with this stock is just that if you're going to look over here and you're going to look at its peers, I know it might be a little bit hard to see, but this is Lululemon's PE right now, 62, right? So it's PE 62. When you're looking at some of the peers down here, Ralph Lauren, PVH, Tapestry, Capri, all these kind of names here. You got PEs of 14, 8, 9, 9. Obviously, the market cap, Lululemon is going to be a monster moving forward and considers to be it. But I just feel like it's getting a little trapped in its own valuation right now. And I just think it's a little bit extended to where it is. We've seen Nike obviously pull all the way back down as well. For me, again, Nike has a 25 PE. Lulu has a 62 PE. It's just a matter of potentially being a little bit too overvalued there on the Lulu side of things. I mean, Nike's really fallen back in here. Again, as this soft landing happens, we talked about AXP and a lot of people buying everything. Nike still continues to be super hot, man. I still love the brand. You're just looking for catalysts. And yeah, despite some back and forth there's still some, social impact here that Nike has. With some of their decisions. And we're just going to wait to see. We still have China coming through as well, but they've really controlled some inventories. I like Lululemon for the long run, and I think that if you're buying stock, you're going to be fine looking at 480. It's come off of $5. There's been a lot of stocks right now that have pulled back in. Look at a name that I really like. We still have, this is the last stock. Okay, good. We still have Costco. Like some of these names that are pulling back in, not even that much, but just a little. Like, is this worth a dip right here? Down, I mean, it is down into 600, but again, 680 down to 655. At some point, some of these dips are going to start to look pretty good. I think Costco and Lulu might be right here, right now. Let's go back to Brendo.
Some of the Chinese ADRs under pressure here this morning as well. Shout out to Sharif off for the day. He'll be back with us tomorrow. But ADRs downside, I mean, the only stocks really on the quote board that I look at under significant pressure here, XPeng, NIO, Li Auto a little bit better off. But here's XPeng, the worst off right now. NIO as well. There was some Chinese economic data overnight. Chinese stocks across the board in the Asian session to start things off for the week, downside in a big way. So some of the ADRs getting hit as well.
I'm glad you mentioned it. We were talking about XPeng specifically breaking 13. Well, testing, and I didn't know it was going to gap underneath 13. You can't say for sure that was going to happen on Friday, but it was a big flat bottom that just got taken out. Now, $12 is a big level. I'm looking for shorts off of this flat bottom gap down. Whether or not it's here, which I am in front of the pre-market high, which is not that wick, but it's about 58 here or 55. So I'm on the offer to try to short this one where it stands to the pre-market high, and if it breaks that, I'm looking at the $13 level. The other thing that could come into play today, I don't know if it will, but Alibaba in 70, it's up at 71 right now. Let's go to the daily chart. There you go. So you have a bottom in there from December, triple bottom, 3 days in a row. It bounced off 70 even. If BABA takes out 70, I'm looking to be short Alibaba through the $70 level. It has a big 63 level going back going back a while. I don't think it's the all-time low, but it is a local bottom at 63. But I think that 70 could be a good break if we get there today. Already down 2%. Do you see the imbalances?
I looked at the imbalances a little bit here. Okay, so we are getting ready to go with only a minute left right now. The name that's coming in, I do want to trade some Palantir. We'll talk about that. They got a new commercial deal. We will, trust me, talk about Palantir as we go. But I'm just getting set up right now for some Nvidia love, or for some Tesla love. I feel like this could be the first one to hit here with only 30 seconds to go right now. Tesla's falling down. It's red into a green market. So we're going to have to watch out for Tesla right now. Coming into 235, I want to test it out. We lose 234, we're gonzino on Tesla if that does come through. So yeah, man, it's going to be a good day. Right now I've got Palantir bids and Tesla bids with only 15 seconds now to go. Those are the two names I'm looking at, plus an Nvidia break through the top.
Yes, sir. Nvidia already back at that 95. It tried to go, but now pulling back. Also pulling back is Apple in 82, but Adara in 2 and 1. Ring it.
All right, let's go. All right, now we're getting ready to rock and roll here. We're set up. I told you Tesla might come in a little bit quick here. It just went to 235.50. I don't want to be too greedy here, or too impatient. We'll take some 235.50s right now. My bid is down there. We already know where it is, man. Crocs just over $100 right now, right off the open. That didn't take very long. Tesla, we're in it. We're waiting for 235 flat on that name. The other name that we want to look at, well, Nvidia's not doing anything, so we'll pass that. Still at 495. It's Tesla right now that we're a little bit in, and it's just a starter position. Let's see what happens with Tesla. I'll put an offer in and around 236.50. See if we 237 up to VWAP. We'll take one piece out if it gets that high.
Yeah, I did get into XPeng kind of where it lied at the open. So we are in one short position. Boeing, not much of a move just yet. We talked about XPeng kind of looking for that drop and that gap into the downside. Apple is pressing. So it's pressing off the 182 level. It seems like we're not going to get any kind of a dip too far into the 180. I'll cancel. I had a stink bid in the 180. I think that's sort of an obvious area that we liked. Nvidia's taken out the top because why not? It doesn't want to go any dip buy hunting. That 95, forget about it.
There we go.
Like, yeah, you know, we can want the dip buy more, but it doesn't mean you're actually going to get it here with Nvidia. It looks like it just wants that top right here, right now.
Yeah, we're going to punch long. So I'm just going to watch out for Nvidia right now on this name. Tesla's not really doing anything. We do have a bigger bid to come here for Tesla, like oopsies, in case it does go back down. But watch out for Nvidia bouncing in and around that level. I'm actually just in one stock, as you guys can see at the bottom. And again, thank you so much for joining us and for watching us and for having some fun with us one more time here today. As there it goes, it's an instant Dollar Club winner right there for us on Tesla. Let's just wait to see where it goes. I don't even want to get out anymore. If we're right, we're right. Let's see if Tesla can moon. There it is right now. It's $1.30, $1.50 in the money. 1 for 1 here today. Let's just keep on going with it. That's a good move for Tesla. I'll just continue to watch out for Nvidia and then try to buy some dips. That's too bad again. It's too bad we had a starter position there. Didn't quite come into our 236, so that is all good. Palantir 625. Boeing tanking. So there's that move. It's already tanking. Watch out for SSR. There it is,
it's
man.
Already, yeah.
Is it? No, it's not
no,
yet.
Not yet.
Watch out here. There goes. Okay, we are now mooning on Tesla, man. So let's go. There it is. Let's ring the register. We did it again. That's a good one. We need to get out first. There it is. $2. Yahoo! Right now, $2 in the money on that Tesla dip buy off the sticky note one more time.
Yes, sir. That's what it's all about here. And yeah, well, sorry, SPR is down over 10%.
Yeah, okay.
It's not Boeing. Boeing is not SSR yet. That's my mistake. But Apple is making a bit of a dip. I'm just still in the one stock, paying off that pre-market low. But Apple dipping as the market's going up. Well, if we like dip buys in Apple, we're not going to get 180. Pre-market support here at 180, 180, 150. I always talk about trying to take those stairs, and you always look for the previous key zones of resistance to turn to support and vice versa. So I want to get that 181 if we can. Boeing is pretty much gone, but SPR is not. So Boeing was already heading to the downside. SPR just bounced off 27. So I like that $28 level. It's about to make a run at it now with a high of 28.25. If I can get a bit of a curl here, I'll try the scalp trade back into 27 on SPR, which I'm assuming we have shares of. I don't see a reason.
Oh, yeah. That's not a hard to borrow name. I would not think so. We are going to go to Adara right now. Tesla is absolutely Moon City right now. We are now $2 in the money on that one as that cow just keeps on going to the upside. We're going to watch out for Nvidia. Adara, it's going to break $5. What's up?
Yeah, GOEV, Canoe, making a nice push to the upside right at the open. They reported purchasing manufacturing assets at reduced prices as they scale production in the Oklahoma City facility. Keep an eye on GOEV, guys.
All right, I'm not, yeah, that's a nice stock. But here goes Nvidia right now. So Nvidia is going to break 5 bills. So this is the call that we had.
Look at the size.
Yeah, it's the #1 name on the sticky note. There's size. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we're on it for everybody right there. So you can't really see because it's blue. But there was only about 100,000 shares or so. What a great fade. Last time we were waiting for it, and it faded off 500. Oops, I should put this up here. That's exactly what just happened with Nvidia right now. You could have had literally 500. I mean, the short was there, $499.90, something like that. Nice little 60-cent winner if you took it. I did not. Let's wait to see what happens now with this name. We're already flying on Tesla, man. I mean, Tesla's this $2 monster. Let's just keep on holding that one. If it works, it works. Other than that, man, this is all that I have on my mind right now, and it's because of Nvidia. I do want to take that fill, and it's only 50 cents away. Palantir really gets pop off because they got that commercial contract that we were all hoping that they would get, and they did get that. So not that hoping to get that one, we just hope that they can build on their commercial presence because their government presence is so strong, but you make money in consumers, right? And so let's get that commercial side going for Palantir, and it's a nice move off the bottom for PLTR. Let's let it settle down. Yeah, what's Apple doing?
Apple just came back in after testing 182. So I have the long in here off that 181.5.
Pretty good.
If it doesn't hold 181.5, you know we like the 180 level better. That's not a long that I would never take a long from here and hold all the way to 180. So I'm going to give it one shot to get to the high of the day and take the stairs up. Otherwise, we're waiting for that 180 price. I, like you, was only looking for the long, which I guess was a mistake. The short at 500 would have been really good on Nvidia, yeah. But it is what it is. I had the short sitting in on the low on XPeng, but it broke that pre-market high. The next thing for me is either fail the same level, jump right back in and risk the 15 cents again, or it goes up to 13 and I want to fade that one. So we pay very, very patient with XPeng. It's a flat bottom breaker that we do like. The only other Chinese ADR on my mind is BABA at 70, and it's nowhere near 70. So SPR, we're still in that one. And before we get to Adara, so SPR, as I said, was heading up, which I was fading, but Boeing heading to the downside. So you're actually seeing Boeing off those lows. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, speaking of flight-related, American Airlines actually really strong despite overall weakness in this area, up 5.5% after getting an upgrade to overweight from Morgan Stanley, guys.
AAL, wow. That's not... Yeah,
what was the news with AAL again?
I just saw an upgrade.
Upgrade, okay, upgrade from Morgan Stanley, okay. I saw someone in the chat say, man, you guys are missing AAL. I mean, yeah, we're probably missing a lot of stuff right now. But hey, look, honestly, we're here to show you about day trading and some of the opportunities that exist. And this is a great one here with AAL. I mean, this is, yeah. What about this break? That's $15, $14.75, $14.80. Probably a fade. I'm finding that's really tricky to trade airlines to the long side right now. But, you know, you got that Boeing news. I don't think that's a big, huge story for AAL. But at the same time, you know, not a great story for the confidence in the space, but a nice move off the 50-period moving average. So it's now trying to take out the 200 on the daily, which it's doing, 14.20. This is probably a long. I would fade it into 15 here.
Nvidia.
Nvidia's going. Okay, good. So here we go. Let's get ready. There it is. We are now long in Nvidia, I believe, on that break. But did it break? Yes, it did, and it's a big trade. So hey, let's go, man. We're long Nvidia, and it's a monster for your boy right now. Did you get it, Neil?
Yeah, my quotes are...
Okay, good. Yeah, my quotes are messed up as well. It instantly went $1, just like we thought sort of it had the opportunity to go. Bang! There it is right now. Let's go, man. We told you, if it's on the sticky note and if it's the #1 idea, then we're in it. And there it is right now. Let's go, Nvidia. Nepa. No more getting out until 504 on Nvidia. I lied. 503.50. Let's put an offer right there. Here we go. It's $2 in the money. It's Nvidia, and we're spinning the money right now because, as we said, man, it is a chicken dinner winner, and we're glad that you all have it. Let's just wait to see what happens with Nvidia.
Yeah, you know what? It's the best thing that could have happened because my quote was all over the place and saying it was out of the money when it was in the money. But the only good thing is I was kind of ready for it after what happened last week. So I got 2 outs. One was at 01, the other one was at 01.5. The next level, I just got it back in XPeng. We'll get there in a second. The next level up is going to be 503. I think 504 is a problem. So if I think that's a problem, I want to take one more out in front of it if we can. And let's go to ADR, but I just got back into XPeng off that same pre-market high. So 2 longs, 2 shorts, kind of evenly balanced here somehow.
Volume picking up here on Twilio, TWLO. Brendan mentioned this one earlier, announcing some switch up for the CEO and expecting to exceed Q4 and FY23 guidance here. TWLO to the upside, guys.
All right, go ahead, yeah.
One more. I don't know if it's going to go flush like Boeing is, but SPR just wicked the 28 level again. So I reshorted it, scalped some out. I want to hold in here to 27. If it bounces off 27, then I think we just sort of play the patience game back up at that 28 level. But if it breaks 27, I'm thinking 26 down here on SPR. Nvidia just took out the top again, so Nvidia continues its push into the upside. Loved an idea for a dip buy at key levels, and we're ready for it. But at the end of the day, the breakout ended up coming first. I just took 03s because I think 04 is a bit of a spot. But again, that's my style. Like, I'll probably scalp breakouts more than the average person. Speaking of breakouts, Apple is breaking out to the upside. 183 now on the offer. It's bounced off 181.5 and is flying. One note for the futures here, everybody. We are just about to get to Friday's tops on the future. 16,575. So we're running into a little bit of overhead resistance. Not a bad spot if you haven't taken some profits. Not a bad idea to go ahead and do something if you have, that's your thing. But the future's at that top. We're 0.7 to the upside. All systems a go. At least everything I'm looking at right now looks strong, unless you're Boeing.
$1, $2, $3, $4, $5 right now in the money on Nvidia. Look, we have 2 trades today, and they're all pretty simple. It's the top 2, like we have Tesla and we have Nvidia. I'm not tired of showing the sticky note, but you guys can go over to it if you want. It's there every single day. We talk about it, sticky note review, all of that nice jazz. But there goes Nvidia up to 505 right now and still going. I'm not even sure we have any reason whatsoever to get out of this. So, I mean, I'm looking at it. We talked about that high of 515, 509, 510. What's next, man? 510, 509, 509 and change. Right now, like for 40. Nvidia. Now $6 in the money on Nvidia. By far, this is by far, well, whatever, it's the beginning of the month, but this is by far the biggest trade for me here this month, obviously, and there it goes, man. When you're $7, $6 in the money and called it, that's pretty good. And the thing is, we all looked at it, so it's all good. That's what you need to do. You need to put your, sort of your money where your mouth is, and if you're gonna be a trader, these are the opportunities that you take. I get blown out all the time on these opportunities, but just like I posted here, again, right now on the note, we talked about why we liked it. Trading is nothing but catalysts and levels and then having balls. It's just like, there it is, 500 long for the chip. Now we're ready, we've done it before. Here it is right here, worth the shot. Let's take it, 500 break. We talked about holding it for $2 against us. So now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, trying to make it $7 in the money on this day. Tesla's falling back down in, so let's just get out of Tesla if it breaks, right? If Tesla breaks 236, let's take $1 on that one and forget about it. It's Nvidia to the moon for me, guys. This is what we're doing. We're spinning it. We're ringing the registers. We're crushing this day. Let's just continue to see if it goes higher, man. 507, 507.40 is my out. So we're bouncing, oops, that's still Tesla. 507.40 for Nvidia. We just got up to 507 flat right there. Maybe that's the top. 506.85. Let's just see if we could take it one more time and just get out. I might just get out of this test. Well, here. How about this? If it breaks through 235, that was going to be our look for Tesla. It's not acting appropriately. Let's not lose money on Tesla and make it on Nvidia. So we'll watch it. Looks like we're giving a little bit back here with NVDA. Tesla pulling as well.
Yeah, this is the point where when it makes that opening rush, I'm looking for the next trade in it. It doesn't quite get up to that 9 level, but it did get to, like you said, got to that 7. I'm going to trail it here. I like Apple. We're going to hang on to that one a little bit, but it's been an absolute banger to the upside. For the market, obviously Nvidia, you're seeing Apple start to go, but these aren't the only things flying. I just want to acknowledge, usually we trade a lot of AMD around here. AMD with a similar breakout, although it's only up 3%, that 140 level, sometimes we say these levels and it's like, go back to them. Yes, we like Nvidia more today, but 140, look at the support on AMD in that one. So as we come back in, let's keep those in mind. I do have 2 shorts on. SPRs on news. obviously, and XPeng is because the Chinese ADRs, well, they stink this morning.
Oh, we just got
and
that
it gapped underneath. So like I respect this to the downside until it breaks that high. I've given it one shot, and that's my one hit today. I'll take another shot at that short. Here comes another push up to Nvidia. So
Yep.
Probably, I think it's about to get the test of that 509. This is where Sean's talking about. It's just, you go back to like November 20-something and that 509 level. If we punch through that, who knows where the top can be. Absolute rocket ship on NVDA. It made a nice bottom, was the strongest stock we were looking at on Friday. That's why we like it today. I'm just going to move my trail back up here. Now I want to give it back to that 507.
Awesome.
I mean, what else we can even talk about right now? I don't even need to. So this is my largest day of the month, and it is 9:44. So like I said, man, remember we were remember how good we were feeling Friday about our day? I mean, you know, and I chose peace versus violence, and I think that's probably what I'm going to choose again here today. Shout out, man! There it is. Let's just go. Don't trade it. I mean, hey, boring man. Look, when you're going to smack it with shares like that, I mean, I told you this was going to be my #1 stock. So now that we're $9 in the money, all we could say to, well, good, sure, pop open the fruit salad if you want, but all John Travolta can be is like, dude, great trade. So there it is right now. It's an absolute monster. We are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a $9 winner right now on Nvidia, and we still got a piece on that one as well. So there we go, man. No matter the share size you're trading, that is your graduation trade. So we'll put the hot dog cannon, anybody trading here at Day Trade the World. There it is, man. That's $9 straight straight to the upside. This is why you come in every single day. You wait for opportunities like this. They're not going to exist every single day. So when they're there, you take them and you hit them quite well, man. Congratulations to everybody there behind me as I'm looking at some of the traders there behind us. And they've hit it, and they've hit it well. So congratulations on that one to everybody. $1 in the money on Tesla, a 10 spot on Nvidia, guys.
Yeah, Nvidia, what an absolute rocket ship to the upside.
Yes, sir.
Now, it broke that 9. It just turned at 509.73. So it just came back in. You'll see me. I said I was going to take it out at 9 if it gave us that look, and it gave you a bit of an up down. Now, oddly enough, you'll see my price was, when I was saying the quotes were crazy,
Yeah.
$499.89. It actually wasn't BS. I got filled on the break on a bad trigger. And then I actually saw it out of the money when it was already at 501, which is what, and I'm like, how the heck is my price $499.89? I think it's because I got a bad trigger before the stock had even broken. So had that turn around like the first time, I'm probably getting rinsed.
Really?
Real, because it didn't break 500 when I got the fill, and the first time we got to 500.
Well, here, what time was your fill? Because let's just compare.
I'm going to double check it. I'm going to go back and actually see the log, and I used an EDJ. But 510 just broke. Now, I'm out of the trade, but this thing just broke 510.
Let's go.
The only thing stronger than Nvidia is Josh Allen's arm and will to win or something. What an absolute rocket ship. The market, by the way, just broke through Friday's highs. So we are headed to the upside. It is a big green day. Oh my goodness, let me just go. Okay, Apple, I said Apple 183.50 is a resistance zone. Crappy wick. 183.50 is a resistance zone from the other day. If it cannot punch through this level, I probably want to get out of this trade and look for the next stair to the upside. I like to hit and quit off those opening breaks and look to buy that little bit of a dip on a pullback. Apple is in the pocket as well. Right now sitting at 183. I don't want this to get away from me. This is not, Apple's a little more controlled than Nvidia.
I don't even know what to do besides catch a ride. I mean, honestly, it's like this is the day. This is what everybody waits for, man. I mean, this is why we come in every single day. This is the market, right? You want to wait for opportunities like that. And honestly, man, this was a pretty clean opportunity, and in my opinion, a pretty easy one because of the levels that were there, right? I mean, Nvidia will continue to work at some point here, and it's already up to 510, 512. So I'm kind of talking about it continuing to work, but it's exactly doing that. It's working a lot right now. So let's just try to be like as specific as we are with this name, but at the same time, we don't even need to mess around with it. It's I'm just going to wait for a little bit higher than where we are right now. We only have now about 30% of the trade still on. So it's an absolute monster trade, a little bit less than that, 25% of the trade still on. So it's an absolute monster, but we'll just continue to watch it. And not only that one, but we'll go slap again on that one as we watch out for the watch back and forth there. It's now, Tesla is now $1.30 in the money and trying to get back up to 237.50. So I'm just going to put an offer here at 237.50. If the market, you know what, forget it. Let's just roll the long. We have, honestly, Nvidia is literally doing all of the lifting right now in this market and taking it through 510, 511, 512. This has been a good day and a happy day for me. So let's just keep on the party time. Palantir up to 1635. I wish I cared more about it, but I don't. What's up, Adara?
ON here on holding, moving to the upside after Sports Business Radio reported on X, anonymous source telling them that Tiger Woods is planning on parting ways with Nike and moving to ON. So keep an eye on ON, guys, on holding, up 5% right now.
Right, but what price did you wind up getting? 99?
I got 90. So we're actually, now that things have calmed down a bit, we're just double checking the order triggers. Like I triggered on Nvidia, it looks like 2 seconds early on that break.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the price.
Such a great price.
500. But it's not, like, trust me, it's not something
937.37.
Like I don't want to get that fill. I'd rather get filled at like 521 or something like that, and then know that it broke the level. Like in this case, it works out exactly the same. I win an extra couple of pennies there, but like you don't want that, because had it not broken, that could be back at 498 much faster than when it's like a false break. So SPR just got back underneath 27, sorry, back above 27. It broke down. I like the 26. That's where I said the target was going to be down there. I was just adjusting my order to get into the 30s here, because as this stock is falling, the market is absolutely flying. And remember, Boeing, which is the other subject, Boeing cannot seem to break out of the bottom of the range. So Boeing possibly putting in a higher low right now, which makes me want to take the profit on SPR and run. Maybe it runs down into 26, but I don't want this getting back above 27. It won't be like a dollar trade if it gets back above 27, because my stop is a few cents above, so probably like 85 to 90 cents. Tiger Woods may take a stake in ON after leaving Nike. What's crazy about this whole thing is, like, where's the update on this stupid live nonsense that I keep waiting for? But one more last one before I go back to Sean. My trail on Apple is underneath 182.5. If it retakes the high, I'm going to move that one to the upside. So we're out of Nvidia. The only stock that's going to not have worked out today was the one I really liked on Friday, but it's the same trade twice. It's short pre-markets into the high, pre-market high on XPeng. The only good thing is I scalped some this time and not the last time. First time I got small in, ended up with the same size in both, bit of a tighter stop the second time through. So we'll go 0 for 2 on XPeng. The key is making sure it doesn't like ruin any of your day. About 1-to-1 on 2 trades to this, about 1-to-1 on Apple and SPR when they do win. So keep it in the pocket. But wow-weewa, Nvidia is the rocket ship. I also want to acknowledge this. Thank you everyone in the chat for always reminding us of the names that we're not looking at. You know I like me some ARM. Well, ARM giving you the strong arm of the law today. Great bounce off this 65 level. It looks like it wants to take out 70. I'm not punching this top, by the way. But if we can hold bids above the 70 level on ARM, I don't mind taking the stairs to the upside here. There's a lot of names you could have gone chips long today. A lot of days it would be AMD or ARM. Today it just happened to be Nvidia.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want this to pull back. Yeah, Tesla. Jesus. What's up, Brendo? By the way, wow, thank you for reminding me. Geez, I guess we have a couple more things to props up about right now. We have 2 trades today. One is a paltry $9 in the money. The other one is Tesla, which is almost $3 in the money, and both of them are the exact levels we wrote down. So we're very, very. And I told you guys 2020, whatever year this is now, was going to be a monster year because of what we've been seeing, and so far so good. We've had some pretty crazy days here again, and this is what we're doing right now. Watch out for 239.50. I'm going to put an offer there right now. If we can get 239.50 on this name. then honestly, man, we talked about early retirement. We're not going to do that, but this is going to be a nice little move up here for Tesla. Obviously, there goes Nvidia as well, right back up to day's high again, 512. We're at 510.50. Let's just see if it goes. That was making me a little bit nervous, and I was actually looking for some outs. And I almost told you guys that I was going to maybe play the out at 506 again, where some of these 50 periods were, or sorry, the 20 period is. But again, let's just continue to watch it up as we just touch 510 one more time. Maybe there is an aspect of being a little bit too greedy here and just needing to get out of something, because it's already just kind of topping out here. 511. So let's just do that. We can do this, right? So this is part of the plan always. So let's see if we get something out now up near 510.50, something like that, and see if we get a little bit of a bump up, take something out in and around here, and then be as happy as a go. Go! That's it right there. That's what we're doing right now. And it's a nice little cash cow today as the register being rung right now on Nvidia. Now we're done for, we have 15% left. We've done real well to hold this. It's now 511. That's the price. Normally, you know, you could add into this. The momentum's been really, really good on this name, but so far so good here on this one, man. I just hope you guys are all cruising with this stock. The NASDAQ's now up 0.1. I guess the dip buy opportunities in the market may have abated. But right there, here we go. We're almost in this. We're almost out of this one as well. 239.50 is what we're looking for. It's a 1, it's a 2, it's a $3 winner. So far today, guys, we've had 2 trades on. The Nvidia long has a 10 handle on it in the money. Tesla long, that's it, end. But as Neil said, man, keep your names flying through here. Thank you, The Boring Man. Again, it's up to everybody themselves. As Neil said, man, everybody will trade different style. Ride the sticky note magic. Yeah, it might not be everybody's style, but if it's yours, I just want to thank you guys for all checking it out, because that's all that matters. The idea is to get better here as a community, right? So thank you again. And now that you guys sort of know the style that I trade, let me know if there's anything out there else that you guys want me to look right now. What's up, Trading PE?
Apparently, did we say it was an all-time high?
Well, it's not.
Well, it's on a closing basis. I might have said that incorrectly, just so you guys know. Like, Nvidia has been up here on an intraday basis, on a closing basis. Nvidia was an all-time high. So as great as that has been, oh, you already saw Palantir. I just want to point out.
Well,
Bitcoin.
yeah, it's the number one.
Okay, it's not Bitcoin's not crashing, but it's fading hard underneath 4,500, 45,000. And guess what else is fading? You probably guessed that Mara is not looking too healthy. So it's nasty. I wish I could tell you I was short this instead of SPR. I already got out of SPR. The only thing I'm left into was Apple. You guys can see I covered Nvidia when it broke that 9 into 10. And now I'm looking for, is there any support at that 22.5 zone on Mara? If it can bounce there, great. But I don't want to fight that stock too hard. I said I would get out of SPR if it failed to hold underneath that $27 level because of Boeing strength. So I got out of that one. We're short at $27.99. That was kind of a fortunate fill back underneath 28. So I hit it when it broke 28. I happened to get 99s there. Took some out, 2/3 out in front of the 50 level. Took the rest out at 27. So in and out, hopefully like a bandit, as this is trying to get back into the upside. So a rising tide is even lifting this particular ship. But the big story that we haven't covered, I think, is this fall in Bitcoin. You can't be everywhere at once. You got to prioritize. Kind of glad I wasn't looking at a long unless this thing broke 27 Mara, which obviously it's not going to.
Thank you, Trading PE. Yeah, it's just something that we do around here. Okay, so first of all, Nvidia good out. Now, I'm just as Neil mentioned there, we did have this pretty epic drop here in Coinbase. I was just playing it off this 151. It looks like it's not going to work out. We did not, again, we're not going to throw money after this name when we haven't really looked at it yet today, but we are throwing something at it, and it doesn't look like it wants to work. So I was going to get out on a 150. There it is. I was going to say I was going to get out on a 151 break. I was just taking it, but now that I look at it, maybe it's this level right here. 151.40. Let's just get back into Coinbase. You can see on the bottom there, we didn't take many shares. And remember I said, like, this is when I really feel like we're getting like, you know, all kind of kind of ways here when we sort of lose our way. But that 151.50, let's just give this one more shot. Looks like it's going to just rip right back up to the upside. So right now we are short 151.05. So it looks like, again, shorting Coinbase maybe to my despair. Bitcoin did break 45,000, and it did head downside there. So let's just have a quick look at Benzinga quickly here, because this is what I'm using to look at Bitcoin. All right, so there it is right now. We'll go over to a one-day chart here. We'll fix it into the timing, but there's the break. It does stop down at 44,750. So if it continues to go, we know that this Bitcoin, and Coinbase should possibly continue to work. But let's just be very, very careful with it. This is crypto trying to bounce around a little bit. BTC, there it is. We got it back. We got all that back right now on Coinbase. Let's just, yes, sir. Let's go, man. Back and forth and around again. It's another Dollar Club winner right there as we go net positive on Coinbase after taking that hit. Again, out a little bit too early. Now back in the building. One more time for Coinbase. Hey, man, look at the trades we have on right now. It's 250 in the money now. Now Coinbase starts to say, see you later on that one. Right back into 148. Jeez, man. Yo, what's up, Trading PE? What's up to everybody out there? You're seeing something. You're seeing something live right now at Trader TV Live. You're seeing $11 winners. You're seeing me throw around $3 winners like it's candy. Let's go over to the desk right now because we are reloaded and we need to take a drink of something. Let's go to the downside. There's Coinbase, $3, maybe $4. What's up, Adara?
Quite an eventful Monday morning for the markets. Nvidia very strong. All these chip names pretty strong, as we'll talk about in a second too. Lots of hubbub regarding the potential spot Bitcoin ETF. So all of that on watch. SPY to the high side after a pretty weak week yesterday for some of these major indices. So very good look so far. In terms of individual movers, AMD, another chip name to the upside after getting an upgrade to buy from Melius Research. Boeing very much downside, down about 8.5% right now after a exit door blew out of one of its 737 MAX aircraft during a commercial flight. FAA grounding some of these vehicles for tests at the moment. So very bad day for Boeing. Last but not least, Twilio up 7.5% after some corporate switch ups and higher guidance for Q4 and FY23. Brought to you by Surge Trader, where traders can get a virtual funded trading account up to $1 million and keep up to 90% of the profits. The program has simple rules and a 100% payout record. Just go to surgetrader.com/TTV and use the promo code TTV for 10% off.
Thank you very much there, Adara. The futures continue to fly. We just tagged 1% up there. I just moved my trail on Apple. We didn't quite get into VWAP, so yeah, I like dip buys at that particular time if we can catch something at VWAP. Or the pre-market top, which would have been around 182. At this point, if it gets back underneath 183, I think I grab out of it. But we're looking pretty strong in just about everything to this upside. Now, I want to get over to a couple of things that we have not touched on today as the market is calming down. Meta. This is, when it's been a good morning, which obviously it has been, it's hard to have not had a good morning today if you're looking at sort of the right names. But Meta is potentially turning red as the market's about to touch these tops. So I want to file away always what's relatively strong, what's relatively weak. I feel like we've cataloged what is strong today. If Meta cannot hold 352, put it in the other bag. I think the market's looking okay, but Meta's now one I have on the back burner as, hey, we can fade this one potentially if the market starts to turn around. So that's going to be the first look for me. Just back over to ARM. This is a name that at that 70 level, in terms of what's next, I'm just double checking what's going on with Nvidia. I don't want to be looking, whoops. Why is ARM and MA? I don't even know what market that is. Okay, Nvidia is still underneath that low, but ARM just broke the $70 level pretty clean. I want to see some decent buying above here, maybe a consolidation above, to be taking a top. I don't love longs through the top, but I do like where this is on the daily and where it could potentially go. You got 72, you got the 74, 75 level up there as well, but there's not much buying. I see like a couple hundred share lots, maybe 200. There's way more sellers above the 70 level right now than I'm seeing buyers on the bid. Someone just popped in for 10,000. So if I see any strength there, I am looking for the long over 70, but it's not there for me just yet. Apple continues to cruise. Okay, Apple just took another shot to the upside here. Just got to 183.70. Now I think 183.50, that previous resistance is going to be the kill spot for me. I don't know if Apple can get to 185 today, but if it does, and I have not taken a buy the dip, then to me that would have been a mistake. So all systems go for the longs. Just Apple in for me right now. And by the way, Bitcoin. I don't know if you have Bitcoin up. That just hit a fresh low. They're selling the news already.
Yeah. I mean, we have 3 trades.
Another one.
Nvidia,
Another one.
Tesla,
Another one.
Coinbase. I mean, right now two of them are $3 and one of them is $10. That's it. I mean, we shorted Coinbase again. We took an L on Coinbase that first short. We lost $1, right? But when you're going to lose $1, then make 4. It's all good, baby. Let's do this early. Why not? We got it. It's 10:05. A lot of people watching. Let's talk about lunch. Today is Herb Grilled Chicken. So we start the week off with another chicken dinner winner. So if you guessed that it was going to be chicken, then you probably got yourself a chicken dinner winner. Or if you're short or long, these names that we're in, you got yourself a chicken dinner winner as well. Today brought to you with a nice side of Tuscan vegetable stew and rice pilaf.
Stew?
This is what it says, man. Herb grilled chicken with Tuscan vegetable stew.
I didn't know they did stew.
A little bit of a mix there going through there, and a rice pilaf to celebrate what has been the best start of a week, period, for me, probably in the history of the show. So there you go. If you're watching right now, you're probably watching the best trading for me of all time to start the show. So there you go, right there. Congratulations if you're doing that. Again, stocks will move around, especially this Bitcoin. We're gonna have to watch out for Coinbase, man. It just touched out down there at 147. Possibly thinking about taking an out rate down there if we get it. That very bottom, I was kind of waiting to see about this, but still, that's 147. I don't know. I guess it's just how fast it moves down here. This is probably a great out. We need to be looking at something like this. So the next time it comes down to 147, which it's now at 148.90, it bounced pretty hard there. We should have maybe looked at that a little bit closer. So let's put a 147. And again, it's great to have all these wins, but we've already captured it on Coinbase. But yeah, we should have taken some out down on that downside. So let me just put a bid down there, 147.20 or so to see about that. And then Tesla, no stress left for this one. I'm going to put one on 239. Well, we already have it. We have 239.40. Let's be greedy. And that's the thing, man. Be greedy when you're right. And we're right now. So let's be greedy with this Tesla and with this Nvidia. Nvidia is still ripping. It's not $11 winner, guys. This is a $12 winner breaking through 500. I know a couple traders behind me still have this one. So congratulations to everybody that's still on this one. It's Tesla, it's moving. And congratulations if you had it, period. Like Neil said, man, many different ways to trade this one. But it is a big winner today on the desk here with Nvidia. What's up, Adam DeLuz, and everybody else that's in this name. What's up, Adira?
Another nice push to the upside for Crocs. CROX now up almost 18%, forecasting higher revenue than expected to 3 to 5% compared to 2023 for 2024 revenue, and some growth for their separate brands, including a 4 to 6% growth for the Crocs brand. Significant increase here, up for Crocs now over 18%, guys.
Yeah, I think when we were going over our morning note, the reason I said I think Crocs looks more interesting than Lululemon has nothing to do with my opinion of the two companies. I'd rather own Lululemon than Crocs personally, but it's just 9.5% short flow. Crocs just more volatile, gives you better trading opportunities as a day trader. Also, Lululemon's like $1 bajillion, right? Intel, newest position for me. I thought it might be ARM, but then when the buyer stepped in above 70, couldn't see it, and I wanted a chip name on a dip, so I'm going to quickly go over why I like it, because the why matters. Friday's high, 47.80. You can see the 48 level has been resistance. Once it broke out, I was looking for the dip back into Friday's high. So I'll give it probably to about 70 even, as we got that long. And ARM, which I do still like over the 70 level, you'll see I'm now bidding above 70. If it breaks 70 back under, I think I would just jump out of it. Apple looks like it's cruising. I don't see, unless it gets back underneath 183.5. Oh, that wick there is a problem. Unless it gets back under 183.5, wow. I think we can challenge 185 today. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking for a 185 target with a trail now in. We're holding it for the longer run here just to see what happens. Aldrin in the chat, Yeah, you're right. Square. Look, you're not going to catch every single name, but the market is absolutely flying. Come on, load. Let's go, Square. You can do it. As I hit enter a second time here. There we go. Absolutely flying into the upside. I haven't really seen much weakness. Why this is of note, you just saw Bitcoin breaking to the downside. A lot of times this will follow BTC. This time it's going in the other direction. Any bounce in Bitcoin and Square looks even stronger as it heads to that 70 level. I'm going to keep my eye on that. But I like the chips still. We'll stick with what has been working, which is the chips and Apple. We did have a good short on SPR. I'm not necessarily thinking automatic reload based on what I saw in Boeing. I'm thinking one and done here, SPR 28 to 27. Take the money and run on that one. The market's a little bit too strong to want to short on a stock which is down this far and could go ripping.
All right, I'm going to ask Randy for a reload, if we can get a reload with our coffee right now, because I don't really want to get up out of this seat. Right now, it's a $13 winner with Nvidia, and it's still going, man. The big risk to me right now, it's not a risk, it's just Tesla does not seem to want to go. And I say this, and we're $2.50 in the money, but I'm wondering about this 238.50. I'm surprised, man. The market's up 1%. And Tesla is kind of like just chilling pretty hardcore right there in and around that level. You know what? I'm going to switch that off for now and put it up here at, I'm not feeling it anymore. 238.70 or so. All right, let's see if we get it. I just want to go ahead, bless you, Ramin. I just want to get ahead a little bit of this print. So if we do take a move up and see like the kind of how I'm talking, like ifs and buts, because like
candy?
Yeah, exactly. There's some candy and nuts in that story. It's just I just don't know where we're going. So why not just kind of hang out a little bit here and give it a little bit of an upside move. It's just like this. We still have, like I said, actually exactly 15%, I think the math works, there on Nvidia. And we said, what about 515 for this name? Well, it's at 515 right now. So again, this could be the biggest winner. I think DWAC as a percentage of dollars there, probably the biggest one, but I'll take $13 here. We had this similar trade on Boeing when it broke 200 or 210 and it ripped all the way up to the upside. Look, at some point it's going to fall in again, right? But I don't really see the reason to get out of this. We've already cashed out a lot, so all of it, like 85%. AMD is another monster that's just not stopping. And I was sort of saying jokingly this morning, man, it's like, so that's it. We said it on the main show. I said it when I got in here and looked at some of these charts, and I was like, oh, that's it. The dip's over. That's the dip. Like, Nvidia was breaking through. I mean, the reason why it's it was such an easy stock today to put number one. And we talked about it. We talked about wanting to take that shot on Nvidia, but look at all the rest, man. AMD flying. Intel today as well. Intel not 48.
ARM is probably the second best.
Second strongest, yeah, and that was another one. Remember, we talked about dip buying in some ARM and getting that one into the mid 60s. Well, it only went to 68, maybe, I think, and then now it's up to 71 again, only 5%, but still, nice move back up, and there it is, yeah. So it got to 66, 67. Those traders waiting for the 50-period moving average missed. Oh man, this Nvidia is really, really starting to go one more time here. So yeah, I don't really have too much to say, but it's going to be a good one. So let's continue to watch it.
Yeah, it's an absolute rocket. The market is we're holding 1% on the NASDAQ here. It's a continuous rocket ship. What isn't participating? Well, I just got trailed on Apple. I want to get to Affirm here because Affirm's back at the high.
Coinbase.
It has not broken the high of the day. So Affirm, we've talked about this one kind of since the pullback in the market. Here, I'm just going to try and get these 90s. I was just trying to hit 99s and missed. Now I'm going to go for like 95. We can get it. Okay, I just got 95. I was trying to get 99s as this failed 44 even. It has a wick high at the open. I want to give this to 44.20. But anything that doesn't break the top, I want to take a quick scalp shot at some fades. If this is above 45, I think it can go squeeze, no questions asked. But in this pocket, I'd rather still be looking for some little scalp shorts. Apple just trailed out for me. Still have that wick there. Let's go to the 3-minute. That's a little better. Just trailed out. We got the dip into the pre-market low, 181.5. Scalped some to 182.5. Just got out 183.5. So it's pretty clean. We get about a point. The stock's up 1%, and we get about 1% on it to the upside. I want to look for the stairs and go for the dip buy on Apple. If we get a VWAP bounce, great. If we can't get it, I want to stick to being patient take that next trade wherever it happens to be. Don't necessarily, I'm not going to buy the high just because I think the stock is strong. If I think it's coming back in, I want to ring the old register and then look for that dip by a long trend. If I draw a trend line, could be 83, could be VWAP, could be any of those. I still want ARM, and it's now starting to pull back in. So this could be a bit of a VWAP dip, maybe the $70 level. Rocket ship to the upside like some of the other chip names. And then Intel, the new position that we had, got a dip into that 80s, got some out at 48. If this cannot hang on here, maybe I don't want to wait all the way back into VWAP. I think I'm going to tighten this up from 70 to 80. Not as strong as the rest of the chip, but up 2% in its own right is not too bad at all.
Okay.
That's interesting. Okay.
Oh, no, and you have something in your coffee? Okay. Thanks to Randy for that. All right, so we just, oh, man, this is, Coinbase just continues to be like it continues to be a
dog?
And yeah, dog, yeah, but it's just a little difficult to trade.
It was spready on Thursday.
Coffee, yeah, it's not super warm.
I don't know. It was Thursday or Friday, but it was right at 9:30. I remember right at the open, the first 2 minutes on a Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days. I remember looking at it.
$15 now for Nvidia, by the way.
Nvidia is ridiculous.
Nvidia is a monster.
So much for buying the.
I know, that's what I was saying. The dip is over. And that seems to be quite obvious right now. What I was talking about with Coinbase was just more the fact that, like, comes up. We actually got stopped out at 150, 150 and put it right back on against 152. That's it. If this goes against 152, fine, we'll get out of it. I mean, just look down here, Bitcoin 44.8. It's not really doing a whole heck of a lot right now. We broke through that 45, and I was just like, let's short Coinbase, which we did. Profitable name, it's all good. But again, it's just watch out for it. It does have that opportunity to get back into that downside pretty viciously as well. All right, so we sort of, when there's blood in the water, there's blood in the water. Nvidia's right now up, and I was going to talk about Tesla in a minute, but Nvidia right now is now $15 in the money. Wow. I don't know where this name's going to stop. If anything, I don't feel as foolish because, taking out $2 right away makes some sense to me. The fact that we have two outs there is the problem. We should have just took it at 111, but as it continues to go to the upside, really, really happy to still have this one on. It's a $15 winner, and it is Nvidia right now coming through. So that's a big one. Let's just wait for it. It's Tesla that's been a little bit more disappointing to me than the rest of them. As you can see here, Tesla not really moving upside. The market's up $1.05 now, and Tesla's kind of doing absolutely nothing. So something to watch out for as Apple back up to 184. Yet again, another great level for anybody looking at Apple. So yeah, I feel like there is some good opportunities here back and forth. And I promise you, I'll look at other names. Yes, XLV. I love the XLV. This is one of the ones that we've been talking about. And if you're setting me up right now, Mr. Memes, this is one of the ETFs that we've been buying lately. So good, 139, good. This is a good price for XLV. I definitely like this one, the healthcare ETF. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, amongst a lot of really strong names, Palantir also really strong right now, up over 4%. Announced this morning that it collaboration with Option Healthcare for Palantir's AI platform to be used. Also, Cathie Wood adding $16.5 million worth of Palantir shares to the ARK ETFs on Friday. So just a note here, in Palantir looking really strong to the upside, guys.
Meta's about to go red right now. And like I just double checked because the market's about to take out the high again. And I'm like, what is going on with Meta? It is relatively weak, but it's still even surprising me. I got in, I said where my stop was going to be on a firm. 420 is, okay, fine. I put it at 44.20 because that was a key level before. Has nothing to do with you know what. We shorted right underneath, got some 95, 25 cents worth of risk. In that particular case, I'm seeing the range of $1 and shorting it with 25 cents worth of risk. So in, out, that's going to be my favorite style. If it does fail this price level again, I think I take a shot. But Meta is really surprising me at this moment. If the market were turning here, I'd be thinking about a short in Meta. But I don't want to get caught shorting a bottom when the market could break out. Next thing you know, you're back in VWAP. So I'm going to do the conservative thing here, which is not to jump in a bottom break as Meta is taking out the low. That seems like the right call. If it bounces into VWAP, we can be more patient with it. I did get Intel. I didn't get ARM. ARM pulled back into 70.30 and is now going to retake the highs. So I think the next time I see that set up, I think the story should be get in a smaller position and give it a little bit more room, as I do want this one off the $70 level, because it's got a lot of room to get back into the upside. Like you're in blue sky setup with Nvidia, but you kind of know where you could be headed here with ARM, and I want to catch that when we get a chance. Oleg, shout out to you for mentioning Mobileye. I know you were trying to get that through earlier. You can't catch every trade. This is not a morning to complain about it, but Mobileye did make that breakout after the, let's just say, disappointing guidance. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Mobileye. I'll have to have a look at that. Okay, we're into another name
4%.
that I know you're just talking about it, but let's just go here and just do a sticky note thing here, because we're in right now into a firm again. So we only have a few names listed on the sticky note today, and one of them is a firm. It's Nvidia, it's Palantir, it's a firm, and it's Tesla. So right there it is, man. Let's go. Let's ring the register again. Face slap ourselves upside for a firm. Nice little short there. We're short at 35. We just, as Neil said, we're just going to start to scalp it. We just took a 17, so that's 20 cents or so on that. Let's wait to see if it takes out this high of 44.75. The high right now is 44.50. That's where we're short. So now let's wait to see if it does take out the high. You know, the stock that we've really been loving here has been Palantir for a while. We absolutely crushed this on last week. We'll see if we can do it again here today. But for right now, it's Palantir, and it's not really moving around too great unless you've been long. It's now trying to come back into the 20-period moving average and looking to take down 1650. So this could be a good trade one more time here for PLTR. I really need a firm to come back in. This is the newest position, and you guys know when we put on a new position, we've got shares. So especially when we have double the love here. So let's see if a firm can come back in. I'll just take a 13 bid. I was going to wait at O's. I'll take an O's as well. But we're bouncing right now off 13. There it is. We take that 13. It's a cash register. It's a firm. It's Nvidia. It's Tesla. It's Coinbase. And it's Adara.
Tons of small caps moving around this morning, including Nexamune going for a fourth day to the upside. No news on this one, up about 35%. This one does have a float, though, of below 800,000 shares, so very small float for Nexamune. We also have Ardelyx moving, ARDX. This is a pharmaceutical company releasing a note on projected sales for its IBS treatment earlier today. Strong sales in that. This one was actually reaching 52-week highs earlier today, so good look for ARDX as well. Butterfly Network, BFLY is the ticker for this one, announcing FDA clearance for its handheld ultrasound device. So this is definitely an interesting look as well, guys, for the small caps. And remember to like and subscribe.
Always remember to like and subscribe, because it is the only live trading show on YouTube where you will see not just the plan, but the actual execution of said plans. Now, speaking about plans, I'm in tomorrow for the first time today, and we'll get it. I think we talked about this one. Flush, Bitcoin was making a move to the downside. It finally tested previous support, turning into resistance. You know me, we get the wick above 23.5. That goes to like 23.71, and I just shorted it when it kind of regained that low, 23.34. We got it, and I'm now into ARM on a dip for the first time. Into that $70 level. So ARM breaking to the upside, up 5%. A lot of stocks made great bottoms to end last week. ARM is one of them. It's flying with the rest of the chip names. So we're in to the long and ARM after being very, very patient and waiting for it. For anyone looking at Boeing, Boeing did not break the pre-market low. Boeing is not broken 230. So it's inside morning for Boeing. Thought it would be a little bit more volatile. Ended up trading SPR instead. And I think that was the right call, because while Boeing's not moving, this actually has a dollar range on a $28 stock, and it could take out that high. So I'm done with that short. We said why we wanted to give up that short trade and not go back in a second time. If you like it, great. It looks like it's setting that up, but I've decided not to reload it. We're into ARM, we're into Intel, we're now into Mara, and I still think we want to wait for VWAP on Meta here. So Meta was relatively weak. It's stair-stepping down. If there's a short and a big cap tech name, it would feel like this is the one, but I'd like to see it get into VWAP and try and make a test of that 354. I'm not really sure why Meta's so weak today when everything else is found a bit of a bottom, but it could just be, you know what, I'm not even going to speculate. It doesn't really matter. The price action's telling you it's weak.
Yeah.
Sometimes the
no, that's exactly what it is. You don't even need to worry about it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Hampton's Trader. Good question. When is my book coming out? I have some time to write that thing, first of all. And then maybe it'll come out at some point, but thank you for asking, and nice to know that there's some interest there. Okay, if I wrote a book, it would be pretty simple, man. Oh, maybe we'll leave that for when we actually do it, but let's just go props up to anybody that's short a firm with me. It just broke through 44 bucks, and it touched down there to 43.90. We'll take another fill right now at 44. Again, the kind of day that we're having, sometimes it's just about topping everything up. You guys nailed that with me there on Nvidia. We talked about that 515 level. Looks like that might be the level. So I'm actually just going to think about ending this trade right now. It's bouncing around a little bit. You know, if we do take down this 21 period moving average of 513, I feel like that's good enough for us, man. $13 clean winner. Brought to you by all of us here at Trader TV Live. So I really like this play. Let's go a little bit lower. Let's go 512.50 or so, and then just get out of it, right? I mean, we're obviously going to be looking at it and say, like, why did we do that? You know where my stop is? $4.98. $2 stop for $13 winner. It's probably a little bit smart and wise, I should say, to take that out at some point. So.
Shrewd.
Yeah, probably a shrewd move to do that. So 512.50. There we go. The order's in. I hate to do it, but you know we've already rode this all the way up. My best out is only 510.70, and the highest is exactly 515. And you guys mentioned, well, you asked in the chat, how did we pick 515? It's just that was the aftermarket high at one point on one of their earnings plays. So I'd have to go back. I guess it's probably on the daily chart because it's not as of recently. So here it is right here. We already wicked up to this right here. So that was their big report there in August, right? So we hit that 515 or so, and then faded right out. It was 515.25. So yeah, a downside move on this one, and we'll get out of it. But right now, let's just let Nvidia continue to go. It's only up 4.5%, and I'm not even really saying that tongue in cheek. Like that's not a huge move. We could get more than that on Nvidia. But in case the market falls, we're up 1.03% right now, and you are bouncing around, not doing too much here. So maybe there is some wind out of the sails. So here we go. Looks like we will be able to get stopped out here at 512.50, which is fine for me. What's up, Adara?
Yet another smaller cap name moving on news here. AVDL up about 15%, making new 52-week highs. Avidel providing a business update that they held 105 million of cash equivalents, and marketable securities as of the end of last year. So 15% to the upside for AVDL, guys.
I might need some ad.
Advil, definitely. How do you not call that stock that? You're going to need some Advil if you're looking at a chart of Fisker today. So every bit as good as some of the, Nvidia or any chip name has been. This is a dog. I'm already going to be telling, you guys already know I'm going to be on the bid in front of $1 if it gets down there. But I am on the hunt looking for a little bit of a temporary low. It's down 11%, so it's short sell restricted. Fisker still has a 40% short float. I don't even know if there was a story here or it's just doing more of Fisker being Fisker, for lack of a better term. It is nasty. If I get ones, great. If it curls here, I might take a shot in front of 15. It's like a 17 or 18 long. So if you see me long in the teens, I want it out at 115 on Fisker. It's just, well, you know what? I don't have anything great to say, so let's just leave it at the price action. But if that stock goes penny stock, I probably have taken at least 2 swings at the bounce off of the $1 level. So I'm into ARM. It is trying to hold on to the 70 level on this dip and pullback. It's not flying like it was before. I think it's in a consolidation phase. If we do break 70, maybe 70 quarters, I think I would look for a VWAP or trace. Intel, which 20 minutes ago felt like it wasn't as strong as ARM, decides to take out the top. And I could have been more aggressive, but I decided to go get into ARM instead of adding to Intel, as this is on a bit of a charge. Maybe it wants to get to this $49 level after all and fill in some of this gap. It's not getting to the highs. A sore horse is not getting to 52, but this is the next level I'm looking at. Go back into, I think it's the beginning of, it's the beginning of the year actually. $48.50, that's the target for me on Intel. So a couple of chip names we still like. Apple, I haven't gotten the dip buy in. We're one and done on Apple, 181.5 to 183.5. It has not dipped into VWAP for me to get another retry in Apple. Market's sort of chilling at this 1% mark and not doing a heck of a lot. So, this is that time where you're setting some things up. We already talked about Meta as well. And now Fisker is on the mind for all the wrong reasons.
Damn Fisker. All right, just so you guys know, man, we are now out. We got a good fill. We're happy with it. Nvidia out 512.46 for 12 bucks. So that's a face slapper right now, and that's a good one. And that is that Lambo trade that you guys are always asking for. So right there, just a matter of what color do you want to take on that Lambo. I think yellow is a good one. That's a little bit flashy. I would, for me, I'd go white or black. And of course, never spend money on a Lambo is what I would do as well. All right, we talked about it. I may be buying a Tesla at some point coming up soon. So we'll have to watch out to see what's happening with this stock as it started to head right back up to the upside right now. Maybe we've just seen enough of Tesla. You know what? I'm actually going to cancel my 238.70 fill. Maybe this is the name now that continues to rock and roll. We wrote down 235 long. I was going to wait for even down here again if it does come through. But see, now again, this is the thing when you're trying to time the market. I have a smile on my face right now because Nvidia just going right back up to the upside. I feel fine. Is it the longest point win this year? Yes, I think this year. But like I just mentioned to you before, you know, just for example, I'm not going to forget, and we have a lot of big bangers on for you guys. I mean, that's, you know, what we're doing. That SoFi, like when SoFi broke this 920 right here, that was, I'm not going to forget about that trade either. So again, we only made like 50 or 60 cents on it, but like net-wise, sure, we made more on Nvidia. Nvidia was clean and very, very easy to hold. But this one was also a great trade. That's why, you know, we've made the decision not to talk about, you know, share size or anything like that. But if you always, like I say in the chat, man, you could ask us red or green on a name. We've talked about that. You can ask us if we have like, you know, what kind of position sizing are we talking about? I don't have a problem doing that. It's just when, all I can tell you guys is that when you're seeing names on here and then those ideas hit, those are going to be my biggest positions. So take them for what it's worth. We, you know, want to talk about the process and the end result we'll talk about as well, winners or losers. We don't have a problem discussing that. It's just, you know, it's more about the process for us than anything else. So I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. And maybe, you know, maybe one day we'll figure out a better method, but we're happy with it and we like it right now. Either one of us didn't trade Boeing yet. Did you?
Just SPR.
Just SPR, but here's Boeing again today. And this is really why I didn't trade it anyways, was very, very uncertain of what it was doing. And the only thing that we talked about was it breaking that pre-market bottom of 28. It did go down to 26 if you did that. I think I'm delaying an ADR call. What's up?
Crypto.
Okay.
Lots of news and updates in the world of crypto. On Friday, we did have reports that the SEC was meeting with different investment management firms and also different exchanges regarding the potential final wordings and final changes for the potential spot Bitcoin ETF. So people waiting for that ETF. Also, Grayscale this morning announcing 1.5% fee, so higher than some of its competitors potentially for its proposed ETF Bitcoin update for the spot Bitcoin ETF. This was filed this morning, so lots of recent news to keep an eye on with regards to these spot Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin itself edging towards that 45,000 area. We're just about high 44s. Currently trying to crack that 45,000 decisively after making a few moves towards there last week as well. So we can see here Bitcoin around 44.8 currently. Ethereum also up above that 2250 area. Most of the other cryptocurrencies, though, to the downside, not too significant. Biggest movers here are definitely Bitcoin and Ethereum to the upside, guys.
Yeah, no question. And one of the things that, just to go back to this Boeing thing for a quick little second, like the reason I chose SPR wasn't just that it's a little more volatile, it gives you bigger percentage moves. It was just that it got to a price that I was interested in trading. Like that $28 level on SPR, and it's like, where do you come up with the $28 level? I don't think it's rocket science. Like, look at the biggest green day outside of, I mean, if you go all the way back into October, on this, recently the biggest green day was off this 28 consolidation and a breakout. So when it comes back into that support, I like support turning into resistance. So if I'm looking for a fade trade, it's as simple as, well, SPR got to 28 to give a short, and Boeing didn't get to any level that I liked. And if it had, like if this had broken all the way up to 235 or 237 were two levels I was looking at for Boeing, wasn't willing to take it in the pre-market, then we would have traded it. But one went, The other didn't. That's why we decided to prioritize one over the other. There's a heck of a lot running right now, but let's get to the futures for a quick little second. Because we're now up 1.2%. The bulls are definitely winning today. The market's green. Everything is looking pretty good unless you're Fisker. And where are we headed? I'm not telling you exactly where we're headed next, but I think when you look at the charts, we started the year with a bit of a problem at that 16.7 level for a couple of days. So if we get to that, another 50 points, that's where I'd start looking for some shorts. And I feel as if Meta is going to be part of the story. Now, I elected to say it doesn't really matter why Meta's weak, but I think it kind of matters. So let's get real. If the story about Apple and the launch of their VR set is going to be seen as bad news for Meta, that could explain the price action. But more importantly, if this is still failing under VWAP and we get to that 16.7, I like the short. We're just holding ARM and Intel at this point. I've now trailed Intel because it hit resistance. ARM looking for a high of the day break as the chip names continue to fly and we go back to Dara.
Another small cap popping up here on volume. Nicarta, NKTX, the ticker for this one, updating its corporate and business presentation to reflect updates, cash and cash equivalents of almost 300 million, so 278.4 million as of September 30th, 2023. Keep an eye on NKTX, guys, up 40%.
All right. Yeah, there's so many stocks that are jamming right now here today. First of all, let's go, hopefully. This is the stock right here that we're going to get stopped out of probably for the last time. We've taken some hits. We've taken some wins. Coinbase. Bitcoin looks like it wants to get back to 40. There it goes. So it's going to go upside right now. We'll get stopped out. We're short right now. 150. There it goes. We're short at 151.88. It's actually been pretty good to trade, man. I mean, the spreads, although we've talked about it, haven't been, I mean, right there we got out at 60s. Probably a bad out there, but the spreads have been pretty good. Like, I don't feel that I'm missing out on too many fills. Obviously, when you put it marketable, now it comes right back down. So maybe that is a level there at 45. I don't know what we're thinking about right there. We just had the short and then it just came back into the upside again on us right there. So this is going to be giving back a little bit of money here on Coinbase as it just broke through the high side. I think we're going to have to be a little bit more specific on what we're doing here with Coinbase, because where is that VWAP exactly? That's 153 basically. So we're in it right now. Let's just get out if we take down that 143. What did I say? 153. We're gonna have to wait for a VWAP take, right? So there it is right now. It's going back up to the upside. Let's watch out for it. It's Coinbase until 153. Affirm is now back down into that $44 level. So that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to watch out for here on Affirm.
So I just got the, oh no, there we go, Intel. I just got trailed out of Intel. Come on, 15-minute chart. Here, give me, you know what, I'm just gonna give you guys a black chart here. You saw me trail out of Intel here as it just gave that 48.30 rejection, and I got out of 48.20. So it's a decent trade. I am still looking for a bit of a VWAP bounce here off of 47.80, but now you'll see me only in ARM. That is the last one that we're gonna be hanging on to. And speaking of ARM, I'm just going to do it this way. We're going to be in the black charts for a minute here until I can fix something when I throw back to Sean. But ARM continuing to rocket ship to the upside. We're long 70.35 on this dip. I'm looking for 72, 72.5 and place to add. I'm thinking previous high 70.80. We'll go dip by hunting into that 70.80 level, as it is an absolute, the market's a rocket ship, the chips are a rocket ship. Meta's not really having the greatest day in the world, but you know, thankfully we're not fighting that one. I did get a stop in Mara. I got out at 76 on a 75 break in Mara. So we're short this consolidation and then it stopped out. We managed to limit the hit there, but it got into the area where I like support into resistance. We tried the short and it ended up breaking higher. I don't know if I want to try this again unless we're failing under VWAP and we trade the same level that we like before, or if it gets up to 25 where you can play off of the pre-market highs. And in either case, I'll be having my eye on Bitcoin to see where we do stand. So let me just, I'm gonna fix my charts up in a quick little second there, but we did take profit on Intel. If that ends up being a bad dip by, a bad trail out, we can live with it. I'll look for the next trade, maybe off the 48 level or off of There we go, or off of VWAP. We like the stairs to the upside, but sometimes those trail outs will do that to you, where you get a price that doesn't necessarily hold up by the end of the day, but you got to take profit somewhere.
Okay, yeah, Neil, clean up that chart. All right, so, you know, sometimes you got to be good. Be lucky to be good, all that kind of jam right now. But look at Coinbase now, right back into the dollar club again. We said that we'd be very specific against 153. So there it is again, man. We did it again, guys, on this stock. So let's see if we can keep this party rocking and rolling. We're also trying to get a firm to break a little lower. I was waiting for Coinbase to get something out at 150, but I see the 50-period moving average now is at 150.80. I was waiting at 150.50. Things are changing pretty quick. So let's take a bid at 151 if we can get it. We're $1.30 in the money right now on Coinbase, but it has been a back and forth trade right now. We are green on the stock, but we have been red on it, but we ain't red no more on that stock. What becomes red turns green real quick on this side. So that's a good trade right there for Coinbase. Very, very risky trade. I know Neil was in MAR, or still in and out of MAR there. But again, very, very, you know, it's tricky. When I saw that story there about 1.5%, I feel that's a fail. I feel like that is way too expensive for a Bitcoin tracking ETF. You could go in and buy it yourself. I don't understand.
I'm not a huge fan of that price tag either. But
yeah, that seems absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. So, okay.
I wouldn't pay it.
Well, I don't know if anybody will pay it. So that's, I mean, people will, but that seems too high. And I feel that, I don't even know who that was, BlackRock, or I didn't even really catch it, but it's too high for me. And the stock, though, Coinbase, hopefully is a little bit too high because we are short. So there it is right there. Today has just been all profit, man. Today's been a great trading day. A firm short has been cash, obviously, although not moving as much as I would have thought and or liked for it to move. And then Coinbase, come on, we just talked about it. Nvidia, the best is the best with that name, and that just keeps on ticking and making me smile. And then the last name here is going to be Tesla. Again, a pretty disappointing name again because we didn't get out at the very top as it's falling back into 235, but we're going to be as patient as we can be at that 235 level. But patience runs out with ADRs. No, not really. She's really super kind. I've never heard her say, get over to us. Never. Super quick. But I was 40 seconds late on the crypto watch. So I will not be late now. Only by 15 seconds over to ADRs at the desk.
Lots of strength here, of course, in the electronic technology sector. Nvidia, Broadcom, AMD, all very much to the upside. Boeing, notable name to the downside after the blowout in a portion of the cabin for one of its 737 MAX flights. So keep an eye on Boeing, definitely a mover to the downside here. Also a lot of strength in technology services. Notable exception here being Meta, but the rest of these mega cap names very strong right now in this sector. A bit more weakness here in some of these NYSE names. So finance a little bit weaker, health technology a bit weaker as well. Energy minerals notably weaker as oil prices fall below 4%. So pretty significant move down there for energy and the oil associated names. Communications also a bit weaker here as well. But retail trade really strong with the exception of Lululemon moving down after adjusting some of its predictions and forecasts for the coming quarter and year, guys.
Thank you very much, ADRs. Yeah, Lulu, look, again, they're not the first name to come out with like preliminary earnings. We've seen a lot of that recently. I just want to get to a bit of an adjustment here. Nick W., good question, because I was about to talk about this in ARM.
Bye-bye.
Where is my target? Well, we did say 72.5, and it's not rocket science. So there's your 72 area. Actually, that's 71.70, but 72 into 73. So I'm shooting for somewhere in that range. Now, I think there's one last stop here. If it holds above 71, I think there can be one more stop above the 71 as the market just absolutely continues to fly to the upside. Nvidia is actually going to take out the high again. So if Nvidia is leading the charge and it's taking out the highs, then I want to give ARM this chance to go the next dollar. So I didn't get ARM off the open. We had Nvidia off the open. We added ARM and Intel to the list in a bit of a, I don't know, complementary trade, let's call it. But I also don't want to forget about Apple because Apple was the other long from this morning. So I got that wick. But hey, you know, Apple still holding higher, but it's only 1.2% to the upside. We're able to get most of the move, buying the dip into the high, and now I'm looking for VWAP here. If we can hold on to VWAP on a dip, I think that could be absolutely fantastic. Boeing is making a bit of a recovery, but I don't see a trade there. I'd much rather trade SPR again than jump on over to Boeing. So Affirm is the only thing I'm in. I'm looking for some dip buys, and if I do short something, we did talk about Meta and VWAP, maybe testing this 354. The market just took out a fresh high. This could be that shot. Maybe a bit of an over, fail 354, try to short it back under, risk about 30 to 50 cents if they can get back to the lows. Meta up 0.5%, but the weakest of the Mag 7 names that I have looked at today. I won't say the weakest of all of them, because you know what? I haven't even called up a chart of Amazon or Microsoft or, I think that's pretty much all of them, or Google today.
Yeah, oh yeah, we should look at Google. I've been, like I said, man, we're a new man up in here. Just trying to trade the things that we think are going to be moving around the most. And we just lost on Coinbase, by the way, because Gary Gensler tweeted something out. So we're going to have to watch out for that right now. I don't know exactly what that tweet was. Maybe Adara does have it. But there it is, man, 154. We'll just get back into it. Again, like the net is just going back. If you're following me on Coinbase, it's going to be very, very tough. Like we were just short 152.50 and got a piece out there at 151. These are things that we're able to do because we're scalping this so quickly. And then we got out when it broke through VWAP. We talked about that, and then we just shorted it again there on this pop up because I wasn't able to see anything specifically about BTC. I'm watching BTC break through 45, which was fine, but then it stalled out again. So right here, we'll watch out for Bitcoin coming back in as we have back in the money again on Coinbase as it just dances around. And then of course we shorted Affirm again. I mean, we're not just going to sit here and talk about this trade. We're going to actually make it. So there's Affirm. We've gone back and forth with this a couple times. Twice there, nice trade back into $44. It just hit 30s again. So we got out at 32s there off of a clean 50 short. So I do like that trade. Let's see if it does come back in here for us. Of course, that is going to be Affirm. Tesla still only 80 cents in the money, and then the biggest and the baddest of them all, Nvidia just continues to make a move. So it's Coinbase that's moving around. It's also Boeing right now. Huge move back up to the upside right now for BA. Great move. This is why I'm not trading this name. We came in, it was down 7%. It's down 7% right now. It did travel. If you wanted to get the short, I was talking about potentially the only trade that I would like was this 228 break. So it does break that, makes that move down to 226, then really starts to kind of barcode down there, giving you the 226 long. So like right now, I think you're running into a position again where you'd want to look to short. Nice move back up, running into this 234 area. If you are going to short it, just play this top, right? This was at 830. That top is 234.50, give or take a couple pennies. So I think you want to look at that, looking at a possible short of Boeing into 233. Still down 7%. That's not that disastrous considering what some of that news was. And again, you know, like I said, we are going to start to take some out on Affirm. As a good thing we did do that back down there at 32. So we take a quick little 18 cents on the last little piece there and see if it continues to work. But yeah, just like you guys are saying, there is some crazy wick action happening all over the place right now with Bitcoin and with Mara, most likely, I guess, and here with Coinbase. So we'll be red on Coinbase if this doesn't go back down. I mean, too many shots here in the dark on this name. But we'll wait to see if Coinbase takes out that 155. I feel like that's good enough right now until we see another move. Like 155, I've been shorting this the whole way up. We've taken profits, which is why it's been good. But then every time we're stopped out, we're giving them right back, right? And so we have to be very, very careful with what we're doing here. And then waiting, honestly, Tesla's not strong, man. We got to wait for 235. I'm not going to dip by this name here.
Yeah, that Gensler. That's the thing about trading something which has like impending news and back and forth is like you can get these crazy spikes. And I've been, you know, I was in and out of Mara just the one time, and it was a hit, no questions asked. I just like the consolidation, so try to keep it as technical as possible. Because like look at the second I was out of it, it goes up to 24 and gives you like a 50 cent retracement clean off the 24 level. But it's still stair-stepping the upside. I'll let it get to 25, and then I have 25 half marked off. Here, if I have a line in the chart, might as well say why. So 25 and a half, there's a drop zone, kind of died there, kind of had support the resistance there. So I do like that level. So 25 to 25 and a half, I wait for it. Christopher in the chat, okay, I see you. MSOS. It's not really moving today. That's the marijuana ETF, by the way. For anyone that does not know that, it's not moving today. It does not seem to want that $9 push. I think $9 is a big resistance level, but it's still above that breakout 770. So even on this dip, it is still breaking out on the daily chart. Whether or not it gets to that, I think we were talking about this last week, holding above here, could possibly get to there. First step, holding support, but it's not doing much of anything else. I said if we saw that weakness on Meta and VWAP, we would go for it. But I also said I wanted it to pop VWAP and look for a fail at 354 as an entry point. Instead of short in front of VWAP, I said I'd let it break VWAP and then show me weakness below. One of the things that I like around key price levels, you hear me say it a lot, I want to see buyers above, I want to see sellers below. I wanted to see weakness at 354 to short it, which would mean failing here and then holding underneath and then going short. Being patient and then allowing the price action at your level to dictate what you do. Not necessarily just jumping in front of it because I happen to like the price. That's why we go over the playbook, and that's why I'm not in a meta short right now. Sure, it was relatively weak, but it never set up. So thankfully, we're just in arm to the long side. I just keep chuckling because I look up at my Nvidia chart and I'm like 515. What an absolute rocket ship that one has been. But it's not just Nvidia. It's the entirety of the market. It's 10:50. This is a time that, I don't want to be forcing any trades. If you've been having a good day, I hope you've been having a good day. There were awesome longs, regardless of what you picked in the chip sector. There were good opportunities in Spirit, which you were just showing Boeing going to the upside. We hit it and quit it on SPR, and it's set up for another short at 28. And I was like, I don't like that short because of what I see going on in Boeing. A little too much strength off the bottom in Boeing, so I'm not going to short that one again at 28. And that got to 29 bucks. So it looks like it's a pretty solid one here. Solid morning that I don't want to be forcing. ARM's almost that dollar, but I'm looking for 72 to 72.5. Paul Williams. Okay, so why is nobody talking about the New York Times litigation against Microsoft? I like tech and AI stocks, but thought Microsoft could take a hit. I don't think it's true that no one's talking about it. When the story came out, we talked about it. I just don't think necessarily that it's not going to move the needle on Microsoft enough for a day trading show. Let's go to Money Talks with ADR.
Not too much news here surrounding the DXY. We did get a bit of a move here to the downside. A bit of a drop as well for the 10-year yield, so that could be of note here. We do have some economic data coming up for the rest of this week to keep an eye on, including inflation rates on Thursday, and then Friday we get PPI, so definitely keep an eye on those releases with regards to the USD's potential direction. Also coming up at 12:30, we do have Fed Bostic speaking, so that could also move the USD. Keep an eye on all of those events, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Almost at, or thank you, Adara. We're almost at the highest spot again because you know what? We reloaded the out of this one. Let's just go over real quick. First of all, there it is on Coinbase. Let's go. It's another $1.70 for us on Coinbase as it goes back and forth again as we're pretty darn happy today. We will be talking about this more obviously on the recap show, but look, Nvidia long, Palantir long, Tesla long, Affirm, right? That's why we're talking about this. It's on the sticky note right there, AFRM. And again, thank you for all the tweets asking for the book. Like, I don't even know that we were talking about a book, but thank you so much, people there in the chat. I feel like a newsletter or something might be more up the alley here. All right, so 4428s, 4427s, like a little sort of a letter where I kind of update it every month with different ideas. Like it's something like that. We'll talk about it. All right, there goes Coinbase. Right now, we're starting to tank in a little bit. We saw that move above 45,000. Now you're at 44.9. So we'll go short again. Boom, goes to the downside right now. And look, despite I know we should have Nvidia still, blah, blah, blah. $13 or $12.50 winner, we'll take it. But the thing is, we're going to end the show. And we still have 9 minutes, and Coinbase still could move. Affirm could still move. But we're going to end the show at our highest spot. It's going to be another green day. So we rode the bears on some names. Man, that's bad. We rode the bull
That's the bad one.
That's the bad one. We rode, I know, I'm doing all the bad ones on purpose.
Okay.
We rode those back-to-back jacks right there. So again, like really happy with the performance of some of these stocks here today, but we could always get a little bit better. And that's why you're always trying to improve. No matter what you're doing, try to get better every single day. And that's honestly, this is why this business, in my opinion, is one of the best to be in, is because you know if you're built for it or not. It's pretty simple. You know, I would say 5 months, 6 months, try it out. If you're unable to put some profits in your pocket, hit the road, Jack. I do think that that's why it's so good, is we can sit down and judge our performance based on our performance. So it's just, it's not too hard. It's a black or white business, you know, and if you don't have the passion for it, then it's going to take your lunch every single day. So thank you for watching, man. As you can see, I have the passion for this, as we all do, and we wouldn't be on the show if we didn't. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope some of you know what we're portraying or whatever to you guys is definitely kind of rubbing off. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe, which we don't hit often enough.
Well, speaking of which, I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. And for Angry Bear, who says that's with every job, look, we're not throwing any shade at any other job. We do what we love.
Well, it's not true for every job.
The difference is, like, if you work, and I'm not poo-pooing anybody that works at a corporation, but like if you work on a TPS report, like you don't necessarily know how that's affecting the company in real time. Like you don't know if was it good, was it great, is it affecting the P&L? No, I mean, you get a salary, but you can't really see that tangible, hey, I made that trade, it either wins or it loses in the real moment. Like you eat what you kill. It is very, very different. I mean, sales is kind of like that, I suppose. Like there are other jobs which give you a little bit of a hint of that, but trading is very unique in that regard. So it's not to say that it doesn't exist in other jobs. It absolutely does. Whatever, we'll get to that. We'll see what's going on here in some other names as the market is chilling out at those highs. We did talk about, okay, I'm going to get to Intel in a second. As I trailed out of it, and it's now holding the top end of the range. I just wanted to show you, this is the level that we trailed out in front of 48.50. What's up with that? There we go, now it's out of there. 48.50, the next available dip, I'm looking for the 48 level to try and take the stairs up. We could see a 2% day, because you got to consider where this market is coming from. Like the NASDAQ can easily get another 50 points to resistance, and even then another 50 till it doesn't break. Some pretty significant levels from the early in that drop. I don't think we'd fill in that entire gap, so there's still room to go. Let us know anything that you guys are trading that we might have missed on. This has been a big cap kind of morning. I let you know one kind of out of the pocket name that I have on my radar, which is Fisker. Oh, I guess I should have gone 115 long. Oh well, I said I much preferred off the dollar level, but it did bounce pretty much cleanly at $1.16. So let me just cancel that order. I don't need to have that 103. When it got within 10% or so of my entry, that's when I decided to throw a bid in there. I like this stock off the dollar level for a kind of a gimmicky trade, but I don't really mind looking for a short here at VWAP to continue the trend. Honestly, I don't even know why Fisker's down 8% today. It could just be a continuation from what the norm is here. But yeah, I probably want to short this one. I don't know about this 122 level, but VWAP for sure.
It's funny because I started this whole thing with Dollar Club winners, but I think we got to probably up it a little bit now because Dollar Club seems it's like it's dirt on our shoulder these days. There goes Tesla, $2 in the money. Coinbase, $2 in the money as we continue to sort of push it back and forth and back and forth. Look, I just want to, again, just thank you so much. Thank you to EV Automan there. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a good day. And when it's a good day, it's a good day. And you want to try to celebrate a little bit of those. I'm just going to hold Coinbase in case there is a disaster story hiding somewhere. I don't think there is. It's just all this talk, Gensler tweeting this or that. We await sort of the official announcement, I guess, of everything here. We'll await for some more acceptance in this Bitcoin ETF realm. We can see here GTBC, no, GBTC. That's the name. Watch out for the grayscale Bitcoin. We talked about this earlier. And like, look at this. Although it was flying high early, why did it do this? You know, all the way down to $36, now down on the day when crypto is still at 45,000. So this is what I'm talking about trading the names instead of the ETFs. I just feel like if you're going to want to do anything, I think Coinbase right now seems to be moving great with some of this news. Mara, again, because they have the short float, a little more tricky, I feel like. Coinbase also with the short float. Let's just double check both of these right now. I was looking at Costco. We're not worried about any short floats on that. If Costco's short float ever gets extended, man, I'm going to buy the living, you know what, out of that one. All right, so 22 on Mara. I think we're in the teens on Coin. Yeah, so 13, so a little bit of a different story right there. Thank you so much, Adam, Deleuze, and everybody like that. If you guys have been watching the trading, which you have, you know it's been a great start for the year, and I want to thank everybody. Again, just for all of that. I mean, I wish I was a little bit taller, a baller perhaps as well. But the thing is like, we already know we're kind of one of those things. We need to be a little bit taller. But look at this, $500. That break was what it was all about for me. We actually put a bid down here at 498 because, as Neil was mentioning there was possible for dip buys, but then it didn't, and then it just ripped. So again, the number one idea, and you guys know when this starts hitting, that we're hitting. So it's been a really, really great trade. Neil's in SPER, or was looking at it, not anymore. So those of you guys looking at that in Boeing, I still think, yeah, I still have 2 minutes. Okay, I still think Boeing's a fade pretty much right here, right now. You could fade that 232 against this 234. That's going to give you $2 worth of risk. The only problem that I have right now, really, is first of all, I need to get some water. The second thing is that the market's so strong. It's up another 1.22%. You know, we're going to have, thank you. That was Skilo reference. Very good there. I hope most of you caught that.
Well, actually, it's when you said that, someone didn't get that.
Someone did not get it. Okay, well, they will. Anyways, I kind of lost my train of thought, but the idea here is that you're going to have a lot of movers. We're coming into earnings season again right now. We're going to have Michael Noss on the recap show. Make sure you join me tonight at the recap show with Michael Noss. We'll talk about some different sectors to possibly look at and what's sort of looping around. I missed some dip. That was, we know we love the finances. XLF. And then I was thinking also, I missed IWM. Let me just check. What is the Russell up? I just want to get the Russell a little bit more. So let me see what this is up or down today. So it's up 1%. Okay, so it still is a laggard a little bit here, IWM. Again, a part of my portfolio, you guys hear me, and I think Neil as well. We always talk about many big cap names, but don't sleep on some of these lower valued names that will definitely benefit from a rate environment that we should be heading into here in 2024, 250 in Coinbase.
Just one thing before we get, we got like seconds till we get to the midday. But shout out to everyone that mentioned when I asked for some stocks that you guys are looking at. Appreciate you mentioning Rivian breaking out. Only up 1%, but I do like where this one sits. So there is 19, there is 19, double bottom, trying to take out this local, you can get to $20 and just be filling in Friday's gap. So I do like this one back into VWAP at lunchtime. I think I'm gonna sit on the bid here at about 19.20. I'm only sitting in ARM. We got out of Intel, and that one is working into the upside. But I wanna give a special shout out to, well, you guys are going to the midday, but it's going to be Obi. Sharif is celebrating his Christmas, Orthodox Christmas, so we wish him a Merry Christmas for himself and his family. But we're going off to Adara and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But you'll be on, no? Is that happening?
Yeah. I'm still coming on.
Exactly, good.
We'll be back. I don't want to spoil what the topic is going to be, but you're going to be learning about something very fundamental to what we do, looking for entries and exits into trades on a daily basis. So let's go down over to the midday. Learn to trade. You've got Obi and Adara.
Hello, everyone. Thank